Intro.
You're welcome on Black Fire Network, Africa. My colleague.
INNOSSETU.
This is Black Fire Network. Of course, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and so. And today's topic is about challenges in Africa. The challenges in Africa for rain. Okay, and then the cows carry. And also, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Mm.
How are you?
I'm fine. Open your grocery, so. Um, what do you think about this topic? The challenges in Africa for rain.
Um, Basically, the topic is so much into what Africa is going through that is not meant for Africa.
Mm.
What Africa is going through that is alien in African soils, but it is affecting Africa even up to now, because there are certain challenges like even a young kid can see by their own eyes that they are not African made. They are not of our own making.
Yeah, and from those challenges, of course, we are going to set them. Of course, we are going to look at issues like wars. In Africa, we're going to look at environmental issues. We're going to look at agriculture, right? Let's put it back on. So, we're going to look at
Before we get some more.
so we shall be, of course, breaking it in bits.
Mm.
A prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. Our aspiration for the Africa, we as Africans, we want, first of all, a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. We as African, we want an integrated.
No, ndekendera wano kyogere kwakiri imbere togenda sipido ngera kyogereko kiba kitwala like dakiika ngabi.
Right, so like Innocent was saying that most of the issues that are affecting Africa are foreign. They are issues that have been designed. They are issues that, that have been designed to affect Africans. And of course, we as Africans, we have what we would want as Africans. And we aspire for a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. Apart from of recent, where of course we see countries like Niger taking over, um, increasing its development rate, since that day it decided to do away with the colonial influence or foreign influence. Most of Africa's development is not sustainable. Our growth is so dormant that if it is not deteriorating, it is always average. Yet we have all the potential to develop rapidly compared to other countries because, first of all, in the production world, raw material is the first essential thing, and Africa has got that. We got labor, we got the raw materials. We may not have developed to reach the extent of manufacturing our own, but we know why we don't manufacture things in Africa. So the growth at which Africa is undertaking is at a very low and slow pace. First of all, it has got a lot to do with not only us not having the first hand on our raw materials, but also the economical leaders. When we look at the economical leaders in Africa, we're going to we are I don't want us to structure like the African government, because the African government also has those people that control it. When we are looking at people who control the government, we usually look at the foreign uh, or external pressure, but there is also a lot to do with the rich people within the country. Apparently, they dictate because they run entirely the country's economy, and you find that these people are always puppets to other external influencers. For example, we have had like a lot of farms in Uganda that someone will see and be like, who to whom does this farm belong to? But if you cross check well, these farms may be having INNOSSETU's name, but when actually they are Maria's. But I don't want to put myself at the front and claim that I own those things. Now, those are the people who have also had part of controlling country's economy. The prosperity, as we look, we can never be. We have a very big financial gap in Africa, that the rich continue being rich and the poor keep on getting poor and poor and poor. And when you look at the rate at which these two opponents work, you find that the poor people work harder than the rich. You may find that you're only resting like 3 hours in a day. And at times these people they work like 3 hours. It's the opposite. But why? Because there is that gap. The rich keep on exploiting the poor. And once a country has exploitation of its own people, I can guarantee you that development will never be fast. That's why you see most of these foreign countries, what they do is to get other people to exploit. We see Arab countries developing so very fast, not because they don't have Arabs who can do things the Africans in Arab can do, but their people are set to do some basic things that help them grow mentally, that help them be able to think, develop. Once let's assume that we are working for kids like 12 hours a day and we don't have any other thing to do apart from being here on Black Offer Network. Do you think the salary we get can sustain us to be able to buy ourselves a house, to be able to buy ourselves a car? You understand? It can never happen, even if you work like for 100 years. So that's why most of these other countries, they decide if they're going to exploit, they bring people from other countries to do that exploitation, to be exploited, sorry. But in Africa, Africa exploits their own. And even those ones who are working in Africa, they come to Africa and work, and they're the ones who are still going to exploit you in your own land. If at all, um, so as we talk about development, usually when people look at growth and development of a country, they focus on the government. Government is just a structure. The people make up the government. If you cannot exhibit that, that means no one else is going to. It is the people who make up this growth. It is the people's activity that structure the development of a country. People should be given the liberty to exercise that, to be able to achieve that. Now, if Africa is exploiting its people and people don't have the potential or the capabilities of exhibiting, for example, having your own business, making sure that you have your own business, having your own business, and also the currency favoring your business, because it's a different thing for you to have your business and when your money does not make sense. But if you decide to say, I'm going to Kenya to get darling air weaves for the women, and if you're having your shillings, how many darling weaves will you buy from Kenya? Or is it that you go with 1 million and come back with nothing? That doesn't work. So, as the country designs the currency strength and put value to the money, the people should be given the leverage to be able to attain their own growth, because from your personal growth, we expose the country. And that's why whenever they say Uganda is poor, they don't say Uganda is poor. The people of Uganda, that's how they'll start explaining, because we are the ones we stand for a government now. Most of the African countries don't look at the fact that it is very important to keep the standards of their people, because the people signify the country. They stand for the government. They signify the country's wealth, strength, ability to do shit. Now, if you give these people the potential, we shall see Africa doing that. Africa has been exploited in this, as we complain being exploited by the foreign powers. We also have those foreign powers puppets who are doing the practical exploitation here. That to the point that most of us have become very comfortable. We don't know that we are being exploited. We are comfortable to the point that everyone wakes up one time and the only dream they have is to work for somebody else. Now, if somebody has that mentality, like, I want to work for somebody until I'm like 50 years or something, it doesn't make sense. Why should you be working for someone when you're 50 years plus? Why should you even be working for someone when you're 40 plus? To me, I feel like that is the age where people should be established to decide whether I should go and open my business or should I sleep. And even if you decide to sleep, still there is somebody out there doing it. So I feel that, but the majority, that's why we have a lot of grown ass people still in the government offices. You see, someone is like 60 years, someone is like 70, they cannot even talk. They still want to be in government offices, they still want to be in teachers teaching schools, they still want to be whatever they are because of that. Now, most of the African people basically, it is not only in Uganda. This thing is throughout Africa. Go ahead.
Kweli. Point zichwade. Tabo.
So this is throughout agriculture. So we cannot be sustainably developed if we don't first focus on the people, because they are the people who exercise this development. We also want an integrated continent, politically united and based on the ideas of Pan-Africanism and the vision of Africa's Renaissance. We've been talking about Africa United, talking about Africa's politics. We've been talking about Pan-Africanism. Political unification is very significant. And I think it is, I don't see Africans achieving this because we have got that political undermine. Like every African leader in whichever geographical area they are governing, they feel like they are the best, whatever. Whoever is doing, if the one in Kenya is like, I think I'm the best leader. I don't need to do with Uganda and stuff like that. Political unity calls for Africa deciding, aiding each other politically, protecting the political territories of Africa, holding the bull by the horns, and deciding for Africa. We need to see referendums like Africa decides, not referendums like Uganda decides today, Kenya decides today. We need to have that foundation. That should lay an example. It is okay to have different political ideologies. It is okay to have different political beliefs. But there is one thing that is affecting all the African countries, whether we like it or not, and that is the foreign or external influence in regard to Africa's politics. We do elect, we do the elections, the campaigns, the voting, but at the end of the day, these people who win the elections are puppets who have been pulled. Africa needs to grab that power. We need to decide. We need to unite and decide how we are going to run our politics, who is going to lead our government, not someone deciding that, all right, I want your political structure to be democratic. You understand? The essence of democracy that we don't even understand. Do you even understand what democracy is today?
Democracy.
Mm-hmm.
To my own understanding, democracy could have mean this. Like having elections. Actually, that's why most African presidents, even when they overstay in power, they will still put in elections will be there. I would call democracy having elections, or for whatever period. Um, uh, um, Respecting human rights in regard to politics. Uh, having that political independence for that country, political independence. For me, I think it is also under democracy. Okusinziira ku nze ntegeera yange.
Well, me to just brief, whatever you're saying is true about democracy. Briefly, when you look at the picture of democracy, the human rights is also involved, stuff, but it's usually the void for the majorities over the minorities, right? And of course, those are the goals democracy sits in, the human rights and whatever. That is what structures democracy. But election-wise, politically, it is the vote of the majority over the minorities. So apparently, those who win take it all. We have not seen that being exercised in Africa. Whether the minority decide, US should decide, UK should decide, France should decide. Apparently, that means what Africans want does not matter. What Africans want as citizens, what they want politically does not matter. These decisions are made or influenced by the foreigners. And we have seen this exercise. We have also seen that cheating on ballots, the figures, change of figures through, computers and stuff. We have seen computers being hacked and figures being changed. We have seen computers that produce figures that don't tally with what the invigilators and other people at the at the election grounds have tallied. More especially the African elections at the time, they are so contradictional. They contradict with what people have written. The computers usually contradict. And of course, people believe that computers are smarter than human beings. At the end, they're going to say, you made a mistake. Computers don't do mistakes. You made a mistake. Maybe you calculated wrongly. Maybe you didn't count right. So definitely, this is why this is happening. And at the end of it all, you cannot go to court with a computer. At the end of it all, they're going to revise your thought. Probably you didn't hear well, stuff like that. Not when they are forgetting that these computers are also operated. The computers just task. They carry their task according to your command. So always together. So they are still operated by human beings. They do what they have been instructed to do. And we've seen people go to courts and stuff like that, trying to complain about elections. But we know all the things are designed. When Ruto, the president of Kenya, won elections, people had proof there was rigging, stuff like that. They even have proof the tally does not, correspond. They don't match, stuff like that. And but he's in power now. And I think we are seeing the purpose why he won these elections. We are seeing the purpose why he is the president. Anyway, we need that continental political united and based on ideas of Pan-Africanism, the version of African societies, the vision. Pan-Africanism, me, what do you think about Pan-Africanism? Just in a simple term.
Like respecting African norms and values, respecting African culture, believing in one language.
Mm.
So basically that is Pan-Africanism according to INNOSSETU.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
that integrated continent, if we can combine all the countries that are in Africa and we take and we identify ourselves as one people in Africa.
Yeah. Well, what I do concur like with what you're saying, but I also believe that Pan Africanism is simply, without even explaining a lot about it, is the patriotism of is that patriotic love for Africa, like someone is willing to lay down anything when it comes to Africa, with a stupid law, whatever. But as long as it is that, I'm not debating. So I feel like that is we have missed. We don't see people doing that. I was giving you an example of when we are talking here about a certain celeb relationship stuff, and I'm going to compare this to Africa. Me, I feel like Pan Africanism is much of patriotism, and like, and then I'll drive you back to that discussion we had before we came online. Like, somebody cannot disrespect someone in the presence of apparently everybody, and when you get home like you're two, this one is trying to say, saying like, I'm sorry, probably I did that out of love. It doesn't make sense, okay, to me. So I'm sorry, I did that out of love. I was so jealousy. I was overwhelmed. Emotions got on the best part of me and stuff like that. Now you're being humble when we are two. Rather, maybe you disrespect me when I'm not in the presence of anybody. And definitely, maybe we can talk about that. So, Pan Africanism, I feel, is that patriotism. Now we lack that even the leaders who claim they are pan-African leaders are actually not pan-African leaders, because if you call yourself a pan-Africanist and you're putting the number one opportunities, you are giving the first opportunities to foreigners and not Africans in Africa. You are giving the privileges to foreigners, not Africans. But in every speech you have, you're talking about how pan-African you are. You are not opening your borders for others. You understand? Because at the end of the day, you're going to tell me something that, I'm so conscious about Uganda, so I'm not going to allow people to come here because that is a, there is that selflessness when it comes to things that you're willing to lay your life for. There is that selflessness. And when we talk about Pan Africanism, this is what we want to hear from the leaders who preach the selflessness. Like when somebody is willing to give it everything they got. This is how, I don't know whether maybe I'm a woman and I'm describing it in a, but I feel like this is how it should be. Okay, so a lot of African leaders, apparently every African leader is going to tell you they are Pan-Africanist.
Mm.
There is no African leader who has never said they're not. But you're closing your borders. You don't want to see other Africans coming in your country. If they are coming, there is too much of questions on that. You don't want to have trade with them each other and stuff like that. And at the end, you say you're Pan African. So we want to see the patriots. We want to see the spirit of patriotism. We want to see the selfless love for Africa throughout the African continent from both the citizens in Africa and the African political leaders. And we have not seen this. Apart from a few, and of course I salute Magufuli, that one I can never debate about the feeling he had towards Africa and Tanzania, of course. So he has been the best example so far of late. We have seen a lot of people trying to demonstrate about Africa freedom, democracy, shit, stuff like that. Like Julius Malema of Tanzania, of South Africa. I don't believe in that guy. I don't believe in that guy. One thing I know, Malema is a decoy. Malema is just another puppet, like we have one in Uganda.
Leader.
He's a political.
Wajestagira bwogezi.
Amwali abeera ne mu palamenti. Palamenti yaabwe. So that's what we hope to see. An African of good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and the rule of law. Respecting human rights in Africa would be something that needs to be revised. The human rights is okay, but when you look at the essence of human rights in Africa, it goes beyond, because as someone has the right obutagala bisiyaga. Hey, nayo right here.
For them, listen, for them when they talk about human rights, they don't mean these real human rights we know about. They're talking about someone having freedom to appreciate that homosexual things. When they are banning Uganda, like when they are withdrawing from Uganda, from giving Uganda aid, Chibagamba, what they say that Uganda, like the government of Uganda, is not respecting human rights. They talk about the homosexual thing.
Not the most important thing. That I think if we are looking at human rights, I don't know why they usually focus on the minorities.
They usually focus on minorities. And for them are like talking again.
So I do agree with you. So most of the things they usually focus on respect for human rights, justice, and the rule of law. We have not seen that being exercised here, both from by the external influence and the internal. Um, the human rights I would only concur when it's affecting the majority. You cannot come and start debating. It's like they're the ones suppressing their own laws teaching us about democracy, yet you are not allowing the country to be democratic. If at all you said it is the rule of the majority over the minorities, and now you are still taking the minorities as the law, as the rule, as the ones that have power over the majorities, then the democracy has failed Africa. So we want to have the human rights. If at all this thing is fueling the biggest population of Africa, anyway, so we want to have a peaceful and secure Africa.
Mm.
When we talk about peaceful and secure, peaceful Africa has, we know people will talk about Africa has no peace as long as you can get to your house and sleep. When we look at peace as its own, unless we attach it with the politics or
Mm.
security,
Mm.
peace is very broad.
Mm.
I see usually African politicians, more especially government leaders, talking about we have peace, what is peace?
Mm.
Peace is when someone is emotionally settled and satisfied.
Mm.
I know it's very hard to satisfy someone's emotions 100%, but let someone have that satisfaction at least to a maximum or
Mm.
minimum level.
Mm.
Are people willing to afford what to eat? Are they able to afford health care? Are they able to afford school fees? Those are the things that call for peace. How have they how have the social structure of these people been? How is it being run? These are the most important things that people usually don't revise. When we talk about peace, the first thing that is coming is guns being in their missionaries being, where they're supposed to be. Um, is people not killing each other. People die 10 times when they're even walking. We have people who are like walking dead.
Mm.
We have people who are like walking corpse. They are already emotionally dead. There are people who are hopeless, they got no hope. These are people who have been, of course, tortured. So when we look at peace, that is what the African government should give. The peace of mind, the peace that trust they need towards the government to be so assured that I have given everything and anything, my government is going to make the right decisions for me, and they're going to make the right choices for me. I'm able to satisfy myself. I'm able to get the basic needs, that's peace now, security. A lot of Africans, we are still going through some civil conflicts, religious disputes, religious challenges, tribalism, to the point that we've seen in countries of course, Congo, where the death rate is increasing every day because they are killing. At least in a day, you find like 20 people
Mm.
being killed. So yeah, we need to have that peace and security for Africa and Africans. Abuyogera ko nteekeko omuntu eddakiika bbiri.
Togamba bbiri kuba tezigenda kubeera bbiri.
Okay, tezigenda kubeera bbiri. Okay.
So, a peace and secure Africa. There is no way.
Um,
There is no way we can achieve peace in Africa when we still see when we still even up to now see a lot of rebel groups in African countries foreign rebel groups supported by Western countries. So securing peace is kind of difficult when we see Western countries and some Asian countries like China are like giving military support to certain African countries and different African countries. They give in weapons. They give in guns to these countries to fight other African countries. They do not normally give them such weapons to fight Western countries. Of course, you have no way of doing that, but to fight other African countries in relation. So there is no way we can achieve peace. And but however, that is the Africa we want. Still, our we aspire to have an African with to have Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, and values and ethics. We deserve Africa is for blacks. It is for black people. We aspire to have that strong identity for culture. Like if we can identify ourselves in our cultures in Africa, we have that common heritage and values and ethics. Um, Besides the new foreign policies of religion and tribalism that are covering almost all African countries, we aspire, we want Africa to be having one identity, Africa to have the strong common heritage, values, and ethics, rather than the foreign tribalism, the foreign religions that are dividing Africans, that are killing African culture, that are affiliate to African culture, that are affiliate religion, that are affiliate to common heritage that Africans have. That a religion is affiliate to values and the ethics of African culture. African culture is a broad thing that has to do with the religion, has to do with the norms and values as Africans. But whenever like very many people in Africa, they are attached to a certain religion. African culture, no matter why it is disappearing, it is disappearing slowly just because this thing is covering over African culture and values. So people no longer respect the natural, the culture. They respect religion and tribalism more. Mm. So still, Africa, we need development, people-driven, unleashing the potential of its women and the potential of our women and youth. We need that development for our youths. Youths are changing the whole mindset of all African youths and women over certain things in life. Are thinking about creating jobs in Africa rather than seeking for jobs. If at all we can create that mindset within ourselves, we can scrap away the Muzungu curriculum, the Muzungu syllabus that they always teach us in schools, the history, the Bazungu history that we have that has made our minds to uh, it has made our minds to think backward, to think like we are still in colonial period, to think that the Bazungus are so superior, to think that everything must be done by foreign people in our lands. So Africa as a strong, united and influential global player and partner, right? And actually, now, besides what we aspire to become as we as Africans, um, These are some of the challenges that Africa is facing today, amidst what we want for Africa to be, amidst for our efforts to make ends meet in Africa for what we want, the security, the prosperous Africa based on, on inclusive growth and sustainable development, and integrated continent, politically united and based on ideas of Pan-Africanism and the vision for Africans, uh, uh, for vision for Africa, Africa over good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and the rule of law, war, a peaceful and secure Africa, Africa with a strong culture, identity, common heritage, values, and ethics, and Africa where development is people driven. Yeah, is people driven. Yeah, Africa with a strong and united, influential global player and pattern, and we have the ability to do this. We have challenges in Africa, and by the way, first and foremost, we have a challenge based on agricultural development, on agricultural development. Mhm. So a lot a lot of people will tell you Africa doesn't have food security. Africa, teach- eh? Eh? Mutaka kuluma. Ah, ate ngozeeyo. Ate gundi ate challenges tezinemye okuyita poliisi. Ndaba ate zikuwa buku. Agricultural development.
Abavubuka boy.
Hmm?
Abavubuka. Soda.
Obwo bumenyera. Tobutabula.
Buleke.
Bujja genda okujja kuba obulemerako nga tugadde okufayo.
Challenge obaddeko eriwo.
Owulira otya?
Olugero ng'ogamba nti owulira emirimu by'emagombe. Mpulira.
Oyanga ebiba bikusika.
Era mba njagala olulego nanga golonde. Ogamba otya? Agriculture. Okay.
Engeri challenges.
Abu yali wabuuseeyo dda.
Inavuddeyo dda. Okyayagala okwogera? Wakomyewo.
So
ate nazino twali tusobola zifula pro challenges.
anti ze tuliko. Wadduseeyo ki?
Nze mbusizaamu fasita mbadde ngenze.
Todduka. Tusooka tukibeeremu. Tukibeeramu ssaawa 6:30.
Amazima mangi. Anabuuliza oluusi.
Lwaki yajja okunzikakanya?
Akamukulekerawo okukawo. So that it can stop.
Mbeera ngaawo.
Anabuuliza oluusi. Nakola.
Kubitukula.
Kanyana nabuli.
Ivory aweddewo. Ngenda ogulamu Ivory. So like obadde oyogera ku kigenda biggwako. An African, of course, we need an African with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, values, and ethics. First of all, Africa has a strong heritage. We have a strong cultural identity. Our heritage is common for sure, but I feel like we just need to let the Africans know this. We need to consciously awaken the Africans. We need to consciously awaken the Africans into realizing this, because we have apparently a lot of segregation, separation that is going on. We have the demarcations of Africa's land that is psychologically demarcated into our minds, that we feel like we belong to particular origin, we belong to particular geographical areas, forgetting that at the end of the day, we are Africans who are connected with the same heritage, culture, and apparently we are one. Now, I feel like we have that, even though we have a diversity of, a culture expression, but when you go at the end, you will realize that our culture is very similar. And so we need that feel. We need to understand that oneness. We need to understand um, the strength, our strength, and the importance we play in the major global development. Now, Africa, we also need unleashing potential of African women and youth. There is something nowadays that is never respected or never talked about in the African full-time essence, that it is very important for African women to be exposed. We, of course, we have seen some good Pan-African and strong men advocating for Africa's women being informed. It is in today's regime, it's like the only thing a woman can be educated about in Africa is probably how to challenge, how to be on her own, how to be stuff. Yeah, I know that's how the society is designing an African woman. You cannot talk about African young people, you cannot talk about African youth and skip the fact that African women have had a greater role in this whole thing. Um, you will agree with me, even if we have men taking the lead, it is very essential that African women consciously understand the matrix of the world we are living in. And I think this is probably the reason why we are going through apparently a lot of shit. I'm not like trying to blame the women that they have done nothing, but if a society of a woman is not educated, by when I talk about as an educated society of women, I'm not talking about women who have not gone to school. I'm looking at women who have not understood what is going on in the world. Women who have not understood what the future holds. Women who have not understood the true identity. Women who have not understood what life. Women who have not
Hmm?
what life said.
Mm.
Bafakala.
Tebalira yifaayo
Mhm.
19 hours ago.
Mhm.
Mm.
So we have a society of women who have not understood this matrix. And I think because, first of all, women play a very great role in the structure of Africa's community,
Mm.
of Africa's society, and at the women have been left behind. The only time we see women trying to advocate is when they are trying to advocate for their rights. They don't advocate for the role
Mm.
they play.
Balinda bikansoliinga mulinda biclose. Just it is in me.
They don't advocate for the role. I would love to see the African woman trying to demand for her right, because it is your right for you to exercise your role. It is your right for you to exercise what signifies you as a woman. I feel like these are the most things that the society has not put out there. The only time we are seeing a woman being advocated for in Africa, the only time we see the rights of an African woman being, of course, uh, talked about are the things that are not essential. Because it is my right for you to let me be that woman. It is my right for you to let me exercise my duties, my role, like the way it was throughout history. Now, the only time that right women are talking about the right is for me to be able to compete. And when we put the word competition, that means we are looking at two opponents. At the end of the day, we need to have a winner emerge. That is the meaning of competition. If at all we say we are going to look at the human rights, man, rights stuff, it still drives us to the conclusion of competition, that we are competing. So we have not seen the elaboration of the rights, because basically the most important things are not talked about. Like I said, it is my right to be a mother. If at all someone wants to take that away from me, if I say I want to raise the kids and a man is saying you're not going to do that, it's my role, it is my right, because it is my right as a woman. You understand? Now, the women want that, they don't want that right anymore. I cannot be raising your child. If you cannot take your child in daycare, you are defiling my rights. You ought to take your baby in daycare.
They don't even breastfeed.
You're not even breastfeed. It is my right not to breastfeed your child. So you cannot be, and when it comes, it's weird. It's my right to do this shit. So you find that what society now designs as women's rights actually is like, it is designing a field of competition that every woman ought to know that you and your spouse, your husband, whoever it is, you are competing. And at the end of that day, when the competition ends, someone has to emerge the winner. When someone emerges the winner, then we have a loser. And now these two people, no one wants to be a loser. You have to make sure you outcompete the other. You're outcompeting. Of course, you have people cheering. In a competition, we compete because at the end, we need to have a crown, or we need to have a trophy where somebody is going to emerge as the owner of that trophy. And this is how the society has structured African families now. That's why when we are advocating for the women rights, I don't see people talking about the rights for the men. The basic importance of a woman is left aside. Raising a child is not important. I cannot raise your child. I'm not your house girl. I'm not your mother. I'm not going to raise your son. I'm not going to raise your child. You're not going to raise that child. If the child is not going to daycare, you're not going to forcefully ask me to breastfeed that child because I don't want to. I have a right to reject breastfeeding that baby because I have my right as a woman. But it is your role. It is your duty to do that. And the moment you decided to bring that child in the world, you should be knowing the duties and your responsibility. I'm not going to raise this child. I got no time. I have to wake up and go out to work. I got no time to do that. Somebody else can do that. If you want, you can bring a maid. Now, this is how far the women's rights in Africa has extended, to the point that children no longer have that bond with their family. And that's why we have this kind of society now, that every child is adapting to the Western culture. Ekyada ajja kugamba nze kiryoko banyenda kola pono ondaba ndi bwerero batatu ndaba ndi bugunya. You did not have that time with me. Like, who gives you the audacity? Who gives you the right to come katinga and you want to be in my life? Emotionally, everything. Now, by the time you see people doing wrong things, you want to come and be that parent that you failed to be some time back. because now you believe like whatever this child is doing kiba kikuswaza naye waliwo okumuinstillingamo that thing that you hold dear. You didn't give me time, you are never available, and now that you think the world is watching, you want to be available, and everything has gone astray. And this is how we have lost the culture, the traditional touch of Africa. This is how we have lost the discipline, because people are actually skeptical about the less important things. Everyone wants to exercise maybe what they feel, what the society describes for them. And the most vital things they are neglecting. As a mother, you cannot talk about a child without talking about a mother. These two things work together. You cannot talk about women without talking about the youths. You cannot talk about women without talking about the young people. If these rights do not intermingle, if these rights do not unify, that means they are not rights. If these rights at the end of the day cannot benefit these two, I'm not looking at a man, but if these rights cannot benefit the two aspects, that means those are not rights, because all these rights always intermingle now. Africa has lost that touch because of feminism and a lot of crap that is going on. We have adapted to the Western culture. It is unlike Africa to find a child slapping their mother. Abazungu babikolanga naawe.
Not God. If you dare. Like in Africa, our parents, like if you're like your parents like is talking and they also like
They'll
you're
talk back.
talking, yeah, and that is beating, that is enough, that is a slap.
You want to beat me?
How can
Maybe
you?
like, have
Yeah.
I really touched you, mom? I just say you cannot say. I told you that story where we were at a call center, I think. No, we were at a network office. I think we are going to pay for internet stuff
Mm.
installation. So this woman she was a Mzungu and the son.
You told me about that story.
Wow, the guy scattered everything. He hit the tablets once. Sina jasa you now. When the mother was like, it's okay. It's okay.
Well,
An African mama ayinza okugwa anti tebabakuza bibanga bisolo. Can you be close to someone and you don't have that bond? Ebyo bye ngamba. Tokuzizza mwana tamanyi nakwagala kikitegeeza, tamanyi naki kyokola okulaga okwagala, wabula you have materialized your love ku mwana oyo nti no all the time bw'aba anyiize nkugulire iPad onaasirika kale tonyiga ngenda kugulirayo iPhone because you feel like kati n'omwana alaba byebyo biri important kati gwe you are not an iPhone, you're not an iPad, you're not a totally, because the way you exercise or the way you express the kwagala kw'omwana oyo, it was according to materials. How will that person respect you? Otegeera? So this is why sigamba nti no nabba beeguya n'obbeeguya nga lugambe kalala. We also need Africa as a strong, united, and influential global player and pattern. Africa has been an influential global player throughout the years, but Africa has not benefited. And until now, everyone wants Africa to believe that they have not had a significant touch to all those different countries. Africa globally has influenced the development of the major continents in this world. We are at least there is no country in the world, there is no continent in this world that has not felt the touch of Africa. Africa has uplifted all these continents' global economy. It has supplies raw materials, cheap labor. It has apparently put in everything, and Africa has got nothing. To the point that a lot of Africans don't know the significance they hold towards these other continents. To the point that we still have other Africans who don't understand the strength they hold when it comes to the development of these other continents. Like, I'll drive you back to what I was saying, the exploitation of within the raw material as the humans and also in other um, aspects. So I feel like until Africans get to understand the global influence they have impacted or the global influence they have over these other continents, they'll get to know that if they put that power back to developing Africa, I believe that Africa is going to skyrocket and it's going to stand out so strong and tall because, like I always say, whichever Africa touches, it leaves glittering. But whoever touches Africa leaves Africa shrinking. If you get to understand this, and probably we take our fingers to touch ourselves, not touching somebody else, to glitter Africa as a continent, I believe that we shall skyrocket. And I see Africa developing rapidly because it has all the powers and the potential to do that, even though a lot of African leaders don't let the African people know the power they hold. Africa faces significant challenges in reaching, of course, those goals we have talked about. To remind you, we've talked about Africa's prosperous based on growth and sustainable development, the integrated continent, political unite, and based on the ideas of Pan-Africanism. We talked of Africa being a continent of good governance, uh, peace, security, a strong cultural identity, development of people driven, of course, with unleashing potential of its women and youth. Africa is a strong and united, influential global player. But Africa is facing significant challenges in reaching those goals. As much as it is probably a dream that every African country on the continent would wish to achieve, we have agricultural development issues. As much as Africa has fertile soils, fertile soils that good rising say to Anne Maria, how are you guys today? Dear Mosquito, we are fine. How are you doing? We hope you're doing good and good afternoon. What was that called?
Yes, how are you, Jeno Mosquito? Like, I've been seeing someone here. I was trying to check out, like, this is Jeno.
Me too. I need to ask him.
Mm. He was on Facebook and now on YouTube. Finally. Yeah, he was on Facebook. I was thinking,
He's done. He's always everywhere.
yeah, and finally he's now here. Hey, Jeno, we're doing good.
So, when we look at food security in Africa, um, Africa having fertile soils. Well, the climate is changing though.
Mm.
I feel like I cannot keep on saying good climate.
mm,
Africa's climate is changing. It is being influenced. It's no longer the climate that Africa had. It's today that it has not rained.
mm, mm.
And I know it's going to rain in the evening.
Tajita.
But what's going to
Ogenda
happen?
n'okubooleza amaliriza wa.
I'm going to know it now. Okay, got it. So, mm, we are no longer the Africa, the good climate fertile. Our soils are still fertile, although they have been affected by the chemicals that, of course, a lot of African agriculturalists have been buying. So I feel like we are deteriorating. And the food security in Africa has actually changed. Now you're joking. I'm going to leave that point to you. The
Yeah,
food security point.
the food security point.
Mm,
The food security, the food security and insecurity it is caused by the Bazungos
mm,
because we nowadays in Africa and in Uganda, of course, I'll talk about Uganda,
mm,
but I know this is happening in the entire Africa. You will find out that in very many African countries,
mm.
the indigenous you can no longer find indigenous seeds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
eh?
Mm-hmm.
These are the seeds our ancestors used to plant. These are the seeds our ancestors used to plant on the same land. They yielded. They used to yield a lot of yields.
Mm,
They used to harvest a lot of yields at the end of the season.
mm,
They used and these seeds had no cases of weevils, insects.
mm,
The, those cases, those challenges, those problems were few, were limited.
mm,
But you find out today where the few food and actually our ancestors had no cases of food insecurity.
mm,
But it is now that you see food insecurity,
mm,
yeah? Leaving all other factors constant.
mm.
We see food insecurity
And
amidst
they will tell you, we
uh,
have food issues shortage because of the population.
Okitegeera.
And yet, throughout history, Africans used to have children.
Mm,
You'd find one man is having like 20 children, not even 20. You'd find one woman is giving birth to 13 kids, 14 children. And now the man has like five,
kati
6
nno,
women.
let me tell you a
But they
story.
never ran out of food.
Uh, uh, was it in March?
Mm,
In our village, we had a man.
mm,
He was a grown-up man.
mm.
The guy had 105 kids.
Uh-huh.
105 kids.
Uh-huh.
Actually, they were no longer kids because they are now grown-ups.
Uh-huh.
105 kids, one man. So, amidst and leaving all other factors constant, in this era, in this generation, where we are seeing a lot of GMO seeds, where we are seeing a lot of GMO animals and whatever, we still see food insecurity in African communities. Reason being, these kind of GMOs they bring on African soils. First of all, they kill the living organisms in the soils. So, if you are to plant any seed, you have to accompany that seed with a fertilizer.
Fertilizers.
Okay?
Mm,
If you are to to harvest these the yields after at the end of the season, because of course they grow for a very little time. They don't even catch up the season. They even grow and like the season for their season ends in the middle.
mm,
Hmm? So these seeds, I told you that that time when I grew maize,
mm.
on harvesting maize, it had weevils. I'd never seen that in my life. They were
From
GMO
the
seeds.
garden,
Yes.
before even they reach the granary.
Yeah, they were GMO seeds. I was like asking my granny, and I was like, why is this happening? Hmm? And like I have two gardens. So in the other garden, I planted these local seeds. But the case was different. The local real indigenous seeds, the yields were okay. They had no weevils, but the GM oil shit, it had weevils. I had to buy fertilizers. I bought fertilizers for them. The other side, I did not buy any fertilizer. But they had no weevils. By this side, they had weevils. So there is no way we are going to get agricultural development. Yet, what is called agricultural development, the GMO stuff, it is actually killing the agricultural system we are having in Africa. It is killing and changing the agricultural system we're having in Africa. So there is no way we can achieve we can talk about agricultural development. That
And the
challenge
food
is
for
very uh,
usually Africa shouldn't be running shortage of food. And this economical food crisis that Africa is experiencing now shouldn't be experienced in the first place. But because you cannot decide that you're increasing the price of tomato on the world market and it should affect the Africans or Uganda. But yet, 45% of Ugandans in rural areas are planting tomatoes, and the price of tomatoes still hikes because the international market is hiking. Plus, why do we have this international market influencing the local markets? Because most of the local farmers are targeting the international markets, and that's why we have apparently everyone. And that's why we have apparently 22 apparently everyone concentrating a lot on concentrating a lot on on local on GM oils because they know that people who want to buy this. Last time we spoke about how they are given opportunities when someone is doing business and you are doing this business knowing that there is ready market. That means you are growing whatever you are going with 100% assurance that somebody is coming to buy. You are not growing this for the local consumption. Funny thing is, even the things we consume locally are imported. The ones that we produce as Ugandans or Kenyans, whatever, they are exported because the agricultural farmers do farming at a larger scales with the assurance that a certain company is coming to buy. Now, the companies keep on buying from the African local farmers, and there is absolute nothing that is remaining back for the local people to consume. You are planting tomatoes at a larger scale. The international market comes is like, if you do these tomatoes, GMO tomatoes we are coming to buy, you're going to sell all those tomatoes to international buyers because they give you that assurance. And what they do, they will give you even the seeds. They say, like, if you don't have seeds, we are giving you the GMO seeds, we are giving you the GMO pesticide, we are giving you all the stuff. That means if you are told going to sell to us, we're going to buy at a discount because we have contributed to your farming. And people see that as a quick thing. See, if I'm not buying the seeds, I mean, I just have my land. They're going to give me the pesticide, they're going to give me the seeds. So how about I'll trade? And then if I do that, bam, I know I'm gonna have interest. So this is what is going on. A lot of African agricultural farmers are concentrating on other international markets than the local markets, which is leaving us with absolute nothing. And that's why the market is still the international prices are also affecting the local market because the international demand for these genetically modified things is very high. And everyone is cultivating this because there is an available market. So the demand of the local people is high, but with little supply. So the majority of the farmers are not focusing on us, and the government is also not focusing on its people, but it's focusing on the money that it's going to get. I see the African governments like this local farmer in Africa who is going to rear local chicken, is going to have local eggs, it's going to have local potatoes, it's going to have apparently local health food, and is going to sell these things at the market to buy fast food, toxic food, stuff like that. I categorize Africa's government like this particular farmer that I've explained to you guys, a farmer who has everything they need to raise their family healthy, to provide a health food to the family, to provide that health-based beneficial feeding to their family, but they harvest everything. They take this food to the market only to come back with unhealthy food you want to carry. Too much of, you know, um, recycled oil and stuff like that that is not healthy. You want to sell the eggs that are rich in proteins and everything, and you want to buy, these other eggs that the Chinese has, of course, made. You have been growing potatoes. You got to sell these potatoes to buy corn flour. The corn flour that has been the seeds have been genetically modified and stuff like that. So so I categorize Africa. I categorize Africa with this farmer. I categorize Africa's government with this type of farmer. Because Africa's government has not concentrated on the people. What if you talk about infrastructure and not first look at the feeding? And you don't look at the feeding. Kati gano amakubo bagatambuliramu balina amaanyi agatambula. The government will say, we are selling all agricultural products to Kenya because we want to get money so that we can build something. For whom are you building that thing? If those people are not able to eat and get satisfied, for whom are you doing all that shit you are saying that you are selling the food to? Give us that. Is that the most important thing? Are you going to give those people whatever you're giving when they are starving? I think African governments are skipping the important basic things. And that's why I say, at times I feel like whatever they are doing is for their own political benefit or their own benefit. So kungamba emmere no gitwala gitunda Kenya kuba oyagala kuzimba kkubo ligenda Masaka. Nga n'abagenda oddikozesa tebalina maanyi gafuluma mu nju to come and use that route. You cannot tell me until you are selling the food outside Uganda because you want to build a hospital. Apparently, the hospital you are building is for the purpose of malnutrition. The malnutrition you should have prevented. So this is what is. I think African governments are not focusing on the most important things. So unless we do that, we shall see a prosperous and food satisfied African country with no food insecurities, a country that is able to feed their people, because Africa has been feeding the world until of recent that they had to change our growth, structure, our agricultural structure.
Like what I said. Like what I said, that the agricultural developments we are seeing in Africa, they are just diverting Africans away from cultivation, from the normal. They are diverting them from the normal agriculture system of Africa. Together, very many Africans think about like they do agriculture, like there are certain crops they categorize. If I'm to take you in my village, yeah, if I take you in my village, you may find out like most people are having coffee when they don't. Can you eat coffee?
Never.
To be sincere, I'm not so negative about coffee, but you find like the real crops they would have grown like to sustain a living. You find someone having over 40 hectares of coffee, and after selling off, after growing coffee, he goes to the market to buy food. He has land, he can cultivate some other stuffs, but concentrates so much on cash crops.
They are planting things for commercial.
For commercial things. Like you find someone having like 10 hectares of avocado. Yeah? So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. So Africans are diverting their minds away. The real
To the money,
African system.
to the money that actually doesn't have value. Why do we have money? For us to be able to feed ourselves, for us to be able to sustain our families. And how do you sustain? They have all the power to sustain. I think, yeah, I do agree that we have adapted modernity to another level.
Those are the agricultural developments that we are seeing.
To another level that is not benefiting.
So Africans used to grow crops in Africa. They used to grow crops, and the surplus, it was only the surplus that was sold.
Was taken, used for commercial purposes.
The surplus.
Once you see that this is my family can, the first reason why agriculture was being practiced was home consumption. Everyone thought about their family,
and food security was.
Yeah. And like I said, now you cannot talk about. Usually, they give us excuses that Africa is, of course, having food issues because the population is high. I remember that those people used to produce many children. Okay, many children. You find like a man has apparently like 30 kids. 30 children and no one is starving. We do not see people die of hunger because it was the importance of agriculture was family based. If you do agriculture and you know, all right, now these fields I have are going to be able to feed my family throughout this season, then the surplus I can sell to those who have not had enough. But nowadays, every African agricultural farmer is now concentrating on money.
We see this in villages. Like if at all someone grows crops, it happens. I see this happening. If someone grows crops today in villages, someone is having a garden. He first sorts out what is going to be sold. Then the remainders, they are the one that they consume at home.
It is now the vice versa.
Take it. So that is how African minds. So that is how African farmers, cultivators, and minds have been scripted to the new, what they call new developments. Watch together. Like I see, like they normally put ads on TVs and like some promos on radio. They say, they bring a gem or watermelon. They say if you grow this watermelon, it is big, it is sweet, it is what you grow. When you grow on a large scale, we are going to buy those fucking watermelons. Watch together. It doesn't make sense. A watermelon can sustain you for some. In Africa, in Africa we eat.
I know.
We're not all about sodas, biscuits, sweets.
Required.
Yeah, yeah. In Africa, we eat real food.
I know.
So when you bring like you put a promo, very many people will go in for
Run
watermelons.
watermelon
Eh,
until like
so
that.
I see such
At the end of
people.
the day, we do Brazilians.
Yeah, I see very many people like someone is serving like hectares and hectares of watermelons. But he's the same person. He's the same person who's going to go to the market to buy food.
Read that comment from Kid.
Okay. Keith says comments this from here.
Are you
Yeah,
guys on
yeah.
TikTok?
Are you
No.
guys on TikTok?
Oh, we are in. We just we're going. I think the next because the phone is now on 30. No, it's on 29%. It's charging. Today it has not rained, so the electricity has been on.
Mm.
So we said let's use the phone for charging.
Who says good morning, Maria, and say to where is Baba Jonathan at this morning?
Jonathan's, we are not in good terms now.
What happened?
Like, ah,
Mm.
ah, we are not in good terms, but I know he will be
A
fine.
real Baba.
Yeah, I know he will be fine. Chloe.
You're not in good. Ebyaddaala.
Eh,
Yakunyigira ebyalo.
mm, he's mad.
Yeah.
He's mad at me because he wanted like okay, thank
Okay.
you. He wanted me to, he wanted to use, my account to get money.
Sure.
So I told him I can't. So he's mad. Now
Omusanga tunuulira.
the issue, yeah. Now when he sees me coming, he turns his head like this. Even when I say Jonah hi, he doesn't reply.
Why doesn't he use his accounts for that fake easy?
He doesn't. I don't.
Eh?
And
You're
he has.
possible.
And he has the national ID. He has every shit. He has everything. But I told him you cannot use my account for that. You cannot use my bank account
Yeah.
for that kind of thing because my names, my initials, and everything. These guys need. People don't know. They know they are talking to a man. They don't know his face. They don't know the real him. But he
Mm.
wants to use my identity to scam people. He got angry. He doesn't greet me anymore. Even
Mm.
when I say hi, Jonah, he doesn't reply. But well, I said what I said. Mm.
So Keith says, not those fake Chinese eggs. I don't even know what that shit is.
Yeah,
By the way,
you
those
know,
things look like real eggs.
they look like real eggs. That it is a funny. I was using that example. You find an African with local a farmer with local African eggs, and they're the most nutritious eggs you can ever eat. And they are very expensive. One egg one egg is twice the price of these other
Chinese
eggs. No, these other eggs layers. So it is twice the price. So one local egg, because they know it is an organic egg, it is a real egg. So these people, what do? The farmers who rear local chicken for eggs, because this egg is twice the price of the other, they will go and sell these eggs. Check it. Now they go and buy. Because remember, one of their egg that they are selling is twice the price. So that means with the price of one egg they have sold, they are going to come with the 2 fake eggs. You understand? So you see a farmer who is supposedly supposed to feed their family healthy food is selling the healthy food and buying the fake food because it seems to be cheap. You see? And bakomona zewaka. They have eventually natural fruits. They will go, but in the fruits they will go. They sell their organic potatoes to buy omuchere. So this is what African farmers do, because they have not been sensitized about the dangers. Life is very expensive.
Like I said, the new developments in agriculture in Africa, they're just making Africans down. So I was saying that the new developments in Africa, they are just making Africans down. They are making Africans confused. It is very easy to make Africans confused. So they're just diverting Africans from the normal system of agriculture. Africans could have followed. They will convince you that you need money. You need money, like you need to do cash crop growing. You need to do everything that is related to money. You see very many people rearing this GM or chicken, hens. Very many people, but you find someone who, like, he has like reared those chickens for over like that 2 years. Na coconut name. It happens. And I've ever seen such people. He has raised this chicken and has never eaten,
because they say it smells bad. They know that chicken is not.
And when it comes like,
and you know how long a local chicken takes to grow.
When it comes like maybe any holiday or what, it will be like, you get from me the local chicken. Why don't you rear local chickens? They're expensive. They go in the market.
And local chickens, take time. They take that natural process to grow. They will take time. Everything they tosobola nazirya mangu zitwala emyezi 6 ku 7 ate 6 eba ekyalina nto. They take even 1 year and a half. That is the local chicken. By the time you eat it, you know you are eating chicken. But these others, 3 weeks. Ordinary food. I have kept this chicken for long. It is grown 4 months. Sorry, not even 4 months. They just die. Tosa hazitereka for 4 months. And those GMO chicken animal in their stomach. Chicken can eat the whole sack. Eat. Zisula zidya. Bana byabadde asekerera sha. Mbono omwana kyava agenda alinga nkoko nzungu anti ekiro yazze okumpahaga kumakya nazze bebasi najja okumpahaga shakana nga nesituka muhagingi shakana nzizaawo yansindisa nzizeewo ebali nazire ngolabira gambala omwagagala kutala bbeere abaana alinga nkoko nzungu. It doesn't make sense because the Europeans
So
that one read. Okay.
So that is what happens that is how African people have been divided from
Yeah,
what
don't make
they
it talk
must
about
do,
you.
from what they must do.
Nedda.
So
Ate nandikubyeko ne ndabona omwana ayisinga bw'atambula waba mu ngeri ey'okwo. Kuba njagala kubagamba banteereko ssente musanvu. Nsooke nkubeko kiroyogera.
So Keith says African governments don't give a shit about African people. They were not set up to benefit African people. They are all European systems. True. Because if at all African presidents, African governments, they had that heart for people, we could be sick. By the way, for me, I see a lot of government programs, but they are not benefiting Africans. Eh? You see, they bring a lot. They bring programs to benefit Africa. You know a lot of programs to benefit, but these programs they have even become unpopular amongst people. People don't know about these programs. They benefit individuals. They will be like they put in budget a lot of money. We are going to invest this time round in agriculture. African farmers, they are going to benefit in this, but at the end, we see no gaining this. Well, I was talking about there are a lot of programs that they bring out to benefit our African farmers. What whenever governments like African governments like put out such programs to benefit Africans, our farmers, African people, what these people do, they give you GMO seeds. They give you GMO animals. Recently they were giving out exotic breeds of cows to African people in the villages. That is what their programs go about. These are the cows that feed on how is it called, mash? Is it called mash?
Chicken mash.
Is it
Mm.
maize?
Mm.
Is it mash? Is mash?
Mm.
So these are the cows that feed on mash. They eat.
The cows.
Yeah.
Nazo ziya chacho.
Overdose. Should I Google this? Yeah?
I've never known that.
What did they?
Really?
Nkutidde, nkutidde.
Mkwano. Hey.
Mhm. When fed with restricted grains, rotations, ground maize cobs have replaced up to 60% of the roughages.
Lens mash. Kituufu chicken mash. Kituufu. Ka poultry agriculture
So,
kikajukira.
so these are the cows that were given to local
Local
African
Africa.
people. They have not taught them or sensitized them about the feeding of these GMO animals. What now giving people like omuntu okumuwa mu kyalo n'omuwa ente emwemu ayisi alo baziba wanga ente enzungu egyo niyo okugifiidinga okutandika n'okukwata muzizo ate wogaana ogifeeding if you fail to feed those those
Kati n'oyo omuvubuka at the end of the day ayagala salary. Kitegeera salary oyinza mugamba genda ozisabemu awo. Sente bulijjo oza kuluguzibwa. Sente. Yogera wamma bano bagende nabo
So I was talking about fake like agriculture programs that African governments like in Uganda, Ghana, wherever African countries are. I talked about giving out cows, exotic cows, as a plan of elevating African farmers from poverty and from localism. from conservativeness. Hmm?
As conservativeness a problem.
And and if at all you're not, for them they think if at all you still do things the way they must be done, as they were done before, they know they say you're primitive. They say you're conservative, you're rigged to change. Okitegeera, eh? So they give out a one cow to every person in the village. These are the cows that feed on chicken mash. These are cows that need to be treated like human beings. I've never seen such
They
cows.
feed
I saw
on.
someone giving
I
cow
tell wait,
warm water.
wait. You know, chicken mash
Mm,
always have living organism, fish, some.
mm,
That means these cows
mm.
are not feeding on greeny things like cows are supposed. Because we all grew up knowing
Mm,
that cows feed on grass,
mm,
they feed on vegetation.
mm,
It's cows ziringa mbizi.
mm.
They are feeding on fish,
They stay in
they are
one
feeding
place.
on
They are not
beef.
taken for grazing.
The genetically modified cow are like wild animals. They want blood, they want to eat beef, they want to eat fish, they eat chicken, they eat. Have you ever seen a cow that does that?
No, that's not. And so
Kati mu isolation
only
muno mu
one
chicken mash mubaamu ebyo.
let me tell you, like when I visited this man in the village, it had rained heavily. The guy was like, "It is too cold. I've cooked this water for my cow. It is just because it is too cold."
Omuntu muzungu.
Is this real? To give a cow however much it is too cold, to give a cow warm water. I saw the guy giving a cow warm water just because it is too cold, it has rained heavily. My cow can't take cold water. It is too cold. Eh? Okitegeera, eh?
Nona agenda ku point endala.
Tukyamala comment za mukama wange.
Okay.
Yes, it doesn't make sense because the European make Africans grow certain crops that don't that benefit them, not you. True, true.
Why they need that market for coffee you grow.
If we don't become serious and exposed in Africa, we are going to have a hunger, famine in Africa. If we don't open our minds.
No, it's gonna happen.
Famine is going to happen amidst having a lot of cash crops in our gardens. What you take it? Because people don't go like someone will tell you, I'm not going to grow maize because it's not profitable. They think of profits
Before their own stomach.
so some will tell you, I have no time of growing cassava. It's of no use. All I need is to grow coffee, watermelons, cotton. I don't see cotton much, but cotton, all those cash crops, avocados.
Tea.
Say like that, sugar cane, such things, tea. These are the people. These are the things people are growing. Amidst having issues, that's why you see now we're having like food is expensive. We see food is expensive in Africa today. Currently, is ugali. It is expensive.
I love how you call it. You call it what?
Ugali. For me, I grew up knowing that ugali is for a normal African person. If
Nowadays
you're
it is
poor,
expensive.
it is. If ugali is expensive, how about these other kinds of
Ugali
food?
is an East African food, and it has become expensive of recent. everything would hike the price and people would still afford ugali.
It was an option.
And now ugali is very expensive than anything. Now these are people who are addicted to eating ugali, and now it becomes expensive. It's like when you wake up and decide that wheat is going to be expensive in Egypt. You know what's going to happen in Egypt? Where people eat chapati all the time. Everything they eat is made from wheat. You can understand how ugali is very essential within the East African community. And um, it's not that people are not growing. Mom was telling me something. I don't know that it was you or mom. I think it was mom. The people grow corn in the farms. When they grow this corn, there's the medicine they spray, and the corn dries, whether it is raining. It was you told me. I think
it wasn't me, but I've seen this.
Mom told me so. Because I was like saying, Mom, it's raining too much. I don't think people will be able to dry. She said, Maria, what are you talking about? People no longer dry corn under the sun. The moment they know this corn is ready, they spray the corn with the medicine. Tomorrow you're going to come back when the corn is dry, like it has been dried by the sun, and you take it to the market.
The people I grew like corn with them in the village. My corn was still growing, it had not reached that stage of drying. I saw them buying these white polythene bags, those small ones. They could put at every corn. Within 1 week, the corns were dry.
For those ones, they put kabela at least. But they spray.
So is
you just buy you just buy like a whole jerrycan of some medicine or whether pesticide or whatever, I don't know, whatever they do. You go and spray the entire garden. The maize dries tomorrow. The third day you are taking it for sale, and people be buying it like it's a dried corn.
Yeah, corn.
So Africa has also experienced environmental sustainability and climate change. The climate, like I said, if we are no longer categorizing Africa as one of the continents that has the best climate, really, because I know you guys have you've seen the floods, you've seen the way Africa has changed with different windy, stormy kind of climate experience in Africa, to the point that whenever it's raining, my mom wanted to like travel to the countryside, and she couldn't travel because when you are leaving Kampala to my countryside, we cross a river. So mom was like saying when she was coming, she went and came back. When she was coming, she was like, we are passing a very long route because the entire place has flooded, so that bars cannot cross through. So now, apparently everywhere is flooding. The roads are flooding. People cannot move. There are agricultural products in the water. Africa's climate has changed. During this, whenever it's raining, at times it's windy. During this season, every African knew that this season is a season when trees are dropping their leaves to store food within their stems. That's what you people call fall. This starting from October, November, December to before in Africa, all the trees will be shedding. No, I think not December. Yeah, around November, December, not October. The trees will shed off their leaves, and yeah, we would have that kind of season. Nowadays, it's no longer there. Uganda is becoming green and green throughout. We're experiencing rain. It is today that I'm trying to see. It is not raining, but it has been raining for I don't know for some good time. So the climate, Africa's climate has been tempered with, I know, whatever climate we're experiencing has been programmed. So until we realize, um, secondary, we can only attain those basic important factors if we start facilitating and regulating our own trade, the trade in goods and trade in services that address tariff and non-tariff barriers. We should have these regulatory obstacles down our economy as African countries. But of course, we know that as Africans, we have not facilitated ourselves, or we have not regulated our trade in goods and trade in services. Um, but we have not had that financial market governance and regulation. And this is very essential if at all we are to look at Africa's growth and Africa's development. These are very essential things that we should focus on having, that free trade, free regulation, not somebody regulating what we should produce. Like going back to Keith's comment, like they make you plant what is beneficial to them. We are being regulated. They decide what Africa should grow and what Africa should not.
Yeah.
The market structures us to be slaves to the market, to be slaves to what
And
the foreigners want than we working for us.
and by the way, still back on Keith's comment, like when they bring like when they tell you to grow what is going to benefit them, you will see very many African people going in for that particular kind of crop or product for them that they want. So when something is too much on market, of course they have to, it makes shortages. So they will give you little money. They will give, the prices will be low. But you produce, they convince you, like for that case of they tell you, we are giving you this kind of GMO, and we are going to give, we have market for that kind of a crop, for that kind of crop. So at the market, these things are going to be very many, and at the end the prices are going to be low.
Yeah.
Also supply and demand.
Mm.
When the supply is high, the demand is low.
Yeah.
And when the supply is high, the prices are low. Nasoma economics since tewamusoma
Njena nange gyeri obvious teetaaga kusoma kwekikyova kiraba bulabe.
And by the way, before I even take water, the saddest thing about African economics, the economics we learn in Africa, we're studying about things that are not in Africa. We are studying at fish economics in Africa.
Remember Mr. Sand? You're the idiot.
Because so whatever crops they will talk about for us to grow, it will be in their in their in their benefit. They wouldn't benefit Africans. I see very many people planting a lot of shit that is not helpful. Todamubilia, someone having hectares of things that we for me think we couldn't be having Africans like going to markets, they are going to buy food, going where to buy what. They, because Africans have the capability of providing all these kinds of foods by themselves, because our ancestors did. They used to grow different kinds of crops every season, and every season had every season in Africa had a specified crop for that season. Like when I was growing up, we knew that this season is for mangoes, and you expect mangoes in that season. There are seasons we knew that that season is for corns. You see a lot of corns in that season. There are seasons that are meant for potatoes, and we could expect potatoes for that kind of season. Um, so if at all like Africans can go back to that system of a specified season for a certain crop, we couldn't be crying about famine. We couldn't be crying about agricultural developments, which are not even helpful for Africans. We couldn't be starving. We couldn't be focusing on growing of cash crops at a large scale. That actually the real cause of famine and food insecurity in Africa, I don't think it is population growth. However much the populations are growing so fast in Africa, but it is not the real cause. Ebinyeebwa biveeko, ye mbijje nawo. Eh, So I was saying that we shouldn't be eh, we shouldn't be crying about insecurity, food insecurity, when these people bring alternatives of crops in Africa. Yeah, they bring alternatives of foods in Africa, like in the name of fighting for insecurity in Africa. But it's not all about population. Mhm. It's all about growing irrelevant crops that benefit the other people. Okitegeera? Coffee. I got to know this of recent that Uganda produces a lot of coffee, but you will find out that there are few industries that make coffee here in Africa. In Uganda, there are few companies that make coffee, real coffee. It is taken to those countries and brought back and expensive, so it doesn't make any sense. You know, why you get the crying? Eh? Tangu tandike gundizo gwazimanyi. Nja kumakinga irrelevant.
Anyway,
Yeah, I did enlightened.
crime and violence.
Mm-mm.
You're not there that nuance.
What do you do?
No, no. Crime and violence. Well, we have they say that by the crimes and violence everywhere in the world.
Mm.
It is not that we are saying they're only in Africa, but
Mm.
it is important that we address it as part of something that is keeping Africa behind.
Mm.
I think a lot of people are investing in criminal things
Mhm.
than a strong, you know, a strong future or a strong legacy.
Mm.
To the point that criminal offenses are not only uh, carried upon
Mm.
external, families, but internally as well.
Mm.
Crime goes beyond from cyber crimes
Mm.
to social crimes, families. educational, government,
Mm.
politics. I'm gonna use there is by the way, I forgot to tell mom to share me that video. I
Mm.
told you about that woman.
Mm.
This man got a lot of money. I think it was 10 million to 10 to 14 million something. I don't know.
Mm.
Um he was married to the wife, they had a child, a son. So this woman, this guy, the man happily
Mm.
gave the wife the money that babe, you know what? Keep this money for tonight. Tomorrow we shall see what we are going to do, stuff and stuff. So I put the money now in my bag like we usually do. So the man comfortably went to bed, thinking he was talking to his wife. So this woman apparently got a panga and cut this man's hand off
Mm.
and cut him with a machete. And after cutting the man, she knew now she has probably the man is gonna die or something. So she started raising an alarm, like shouting. So people came. This was real life. When I'm telling this story, it's like I'm in a dream or shit. How can somebody do that in the presence of their child? So she started telling the people, we thieves, we had robbers who have come, they're the ones who have cut my husband. And the man, I think, was oozing, like he was, losing blood. He was very weak to say anything. So that boy is the one who said, Mom, you're lying. You're the one who cut dad. You first cut daddy's hand. Daddy, the father was in sleep. He was cutting the husband when the husband was in sleep. Because of this money the husband had given her to keep, so that tomorrow, probably the next day, we are supposed to do some, stuff for the money. So it is the child who told the police, my mom is lying. Apparently, we did not have, we did not.
omukazi yaŋŋamba ye newakula banemutwala ataano nze nkubuulira mazima. I'm telling you the truth about this.
Kati abantu ngaabo tobyogera nabo nakumwogera nabo. Omuntu bw'atya omuntu naawe
Someone told him even if it is 500 he can go with your life. And she was a grown up. She was a grown up. She told me, I see with 500, Esh.
So the child is the one who helped that. So until this child told the police and the people who had run to help, like it is the mother who did that, that we did not have any robbers coming in the house. It is mom who cut off daddy's hand. She was trying to kill that. I'm yet to know if this man survived that. So that man was arrested.
Might have survived. Besides that, I told you in our village, women, it is a normal thing in our villages for women to beat men. I told you this. I remember I told you about the saga. I told you about the saga over. I told you about the saga of a woman who killed her husband and locked the corpse in the house for 2 days. Then the next day she came back home and she was like, yeah, my husband died and all that stuff. To open, the husband is back. What? Hey, he was snapped.
No, tell me.
No, bamboo.
Shut up.
Nze toyinza kunkubaga katono. Tosobola kunkuba.
Kati oyo bamukuba. Kazi bwebaga masaka.
Omukazi nawe abeeramu omusirikale. About Susan on the phone.
Okuyingira amagye.
No, when it is normal, it is okay. I mean to flog me like a dog, like a stealing dog, like a wakabi.
Mbwera bakufuula busokuba basajja. Mulina
Babakubanga,
abanyarwanda bangi.
babakubanga.
Mulina abanyarwanda bangi.
Niba bakubanga, but you can't beat me up. They beat them. They beat them seriously.
Temubana maanyi.
Beera wenze like atagala like kuba bakazi. I want to beat up women, not too violent to that. But if the woman dare tries to, no, I'm telling you the truth. If a woman dare tries to beat me, I can surprise her. Ash.
What if he's a strong woman?
Neobeera ng'oli strong gogezangako olumu n'olaba.
What if she has I'm like this one?
Ash. For me, I told you, for me, I used to fight with my sis. I was 8, but I used to fight her. She was pregnant. She had given birth, and she was like dictating everything at home. I warned her. Ash. But I'm someone who is not too violent, but that extent of a woman beating like a man, it is too much.
I don't see myself beating a man, but I can beat a man if he wants to beat me. Now why do you want to beat me? You think I cannot be defending myself? You start slapping me and I'm like, you slap me this again, I'm like,
and say you're defending yourself, but
I defend you and I win the war. But at times it's a bad thing, but it's not a good thing. Violence isn't a good thing from both sides. It is not okay for a man to beat a woman. It's not okay for a man to beat a woman. For a man to beat a man. So it's not something that people should even debate.
No, there are certain things. No matter what, sikuviira neyankoleso
bw'aba muganda nga baawa mukuba nedifendinga kawulira otya
tekisoboka, teriyo musajja asobola okuba basisita abaana. They are so violent, extremely
no tukozesa just example nga omuntu abadde akuba kale muwalawo naye neyedifendinga n'amukuba nga
katolabo like the bad thing with women, if they defend themselves badly, asobola okukwata ng'akambe n'akufumita n'oggwawo with all your energies. That's what happens. And I guess even this man who died, who was killed by a woman, I guess that is how the story was. Like with all that anger, bobanga kabaawo wano, then even the whole back namukuba paka we yamumaliriza. In fact, the woman in Buku, but I know he knew that the guy had died and rocked like the deceased, the corpse inside the house for 2 to 3 days. Then the neighbors were like, we hear something smelling over the window. What's that? The woman had rained in her village.
She came back.
They didn't tell her about anything. Actually, the neighbors, they could hear them fighting all the time. So they were like, if at all we call this woman to come now, she will not. Sorry. So they went in her village and found her there with police, grabbed her. The landlord, you come and open. On opening, flies.
osanga yamulekamu akalaba n'amudduka n'amuleka.
Flies were all over. The guy had died.
Bamusobola kwetaaga omunaala
Eh? Not the Olaba, but Olaba, if we look here and there is something stench here, you will see them even when the door is locked.
ekyo kintu kyekizizaala.
Emibiri gyaffe gino like olaba whenever flies zikubiikako amagi okitegeera in that process. That's why a human being otolaba nti tuli wano, if at all I die from here, I remain here, ojja kulaba nga using
Nyiza ezikola ensolo.
obviously sezikola ensolo sobodde omanyi kiki funyuza ezikola ensolo maggots. They're maggots. So they took the woman. Maybe she was released, but that violence is too much. A woman beating up a man. Ooh.
We have crime, violence, and domestic violence nowadays is taking it to the next level. And I think Africans have neglected that. It was unlike of African traditional men to beat a woman naye balinako mangi. Nze ndowooza kale kireka tuva mu famire yaffe nti tuli basiru.
Who are command?
Abasajja b'edda olaba kyo baba bagamba ebintu byegoberera. You see, like they used to say, nti no granny. Jjajja wa jjajja.
Yes.
Granny wa granny azaala jjajja, like the great granny. For humble, they used to, whenever, like the husband wani, they had those short knives. They are like daggers. Those traditional knives. Obutegeera obwo they were like this and they had put embaawo wano.
I know them.
Mubiyita butya?
Muso.
Obuso.
Muso.
Muso.
Yeah, in Uganda.
In your language, I don't know how they call it in mine. But those traditional knives in that judge, you from the town, and it goes, and you cannot remove it. Papa will come it out. Because
That violence is too much.
The violence, like a violence ebeerewo, but mu lusiru ki oba omukazi obutula n'akagamba nti balakoma bakusamba.
Ate nga bayendanga. So that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But that is too much violence. That is too much violence.
So and nowadays I think there's too much of domestic violence within. I've seen people kill each other through the black community. A man kill a woman, a woman kill a man. The children, we've seen all the stories all over social media. So I think it is high time Africa, of course, revise this. Foreign direct investments. We know the fake investors, of course, environmental stability that good public sector governance.
Tuli ku ssaawa tubala ssaawa.
Anti byonna bye bimu. Financial monitoring governance regulation.
Kyokka basiba okubikola ebinnyonnyola differently. Ssaawa yakatandika.
Environmental system, climate change nagyogeddeko.
Okay, equal.
Opportunity for all. So apparently Africa doesn't have equal opportunity for all people. We have been engulfed with tribalism, religious differences. We have hierarched ourselves according to the levels of education. The elite and the non, the illiterate and the literate.
Ghetto.
The ghetto.
Yes, like Jiba was saying yesterday, how they classify
the countryside men and the city born. So So we have all these categories leave us with a social difference, and the resources aren't distributed equally because of this social class difference, you find that some other people are privileged. They will tell you the reasons why people move from countryside, that's rural areas, to urban, to look for greener pastures, good education system, good health care. They will tell you they are, but this is something that can even be done in the countryside.
Mm.
We can build good schools, good hospitals, so good health services. We can provide them with good security and staff. If at all um, we are align this positively or balance the service delivery. But most of the people in Africa don't do that. Most of the people in the city are privileged compared to the ones in our country. And that's a social difference that actually hinders the balance of economy. There is a particular economy that the people in the cities govern. There is also that part that the people in rural areas govern. So unless we balance this whole together, we will find that both the parties are not benefiting. As the people in rural areas are carrying out agriculture, we assume that the people in the cities are the ones who are buying those agricultural products. And but if we do not look at that as beneficial, that you make sure you improve the infrastructures of the people in the countryside, because they're the ones who are supposed to transport the agricultural products to the city, that means you are doing nothing. Make the link so quick and fast, easy, and affordable, so that the people in the cities can have access to all the products that are made from the countryside or the rural areas. Africa basically concentrates a lot on urban centers than the rural areas. And that's why you find, do you know, you will find even some rural areas when they don't have electricity?
And, and by the way, and the biggest population of the country's population is normally in the rural areas, and people don't know this. However, the concentration, the population density, it is in the cities, but most people live in the villages. Kabugoling, should I Google that?
Why?
Eh?
Why?
You're not justified.
I'm not. Wow. Do you remember? No, yeah. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with that point.
Mm.
First of all, let me tell you,
Mm.
rural, the people who come to rural areas,
Mm.
to urban areas,
Mm.
are just a few of the part of those who have remained in rural areas.
Mm.
Check it out.
Mm.
We find that a family of 12,
Mm.
3 people will come to urban areas.
Mm.
The rest remain behind.
Mm.
2, the urban areas seem to be congested, but it is at a certain time overpopulated, Katono, because the geographical area tebanene
Mm.
kwenkaneri. The largest is by far the capital Kampala with a population of so the next largest city
If
has
I
a
tell you I have
population.
45 million, this is 1 million. It doesn't make sense. This thing is fake. It's fake. We have 40 million people. Eh? According to the statistics, but I know it's not real.
And to Gambia city, they are looking at cities. Byenda kwajja tujja gyogerako kibya.
So,
I don't know byogedde.
equal
Trading
opportunity
goods
for
in and
all.
goods out. Communicable disease management. Everyone, foreign direct investment. Byogera ku disease management yaho.
Before that, because we have to be clear about this, the equal opportunity for all, how it is a problem
Mm.
We see today in Africa very many religions,
Mm.
very many, very many, and this of course is majorly to divide Africans.
Mm.
Uh, you know, you know very well there are certain people who can tell you who can tell you I can't sit at the same table with a person, with a man, with a guy of this tribe or of this religion.
Mm.
We know of religions in Africa where they say those people are crazy, those people are bad, those people are jealousy, those people are hostile. We know about those religions in Africa. Hmm?
Mhm.
Nenga Oenoina, all this is just propaganda to divide Africans. It stands a challenging factor in Africa over years, ever since these religions were created in Africa.
Mm.
They divided Africans totally.
Mm.
And what makes even more worse, we could be having in Africa, for instance, we could be having like two religions.
Mm.
Those are the natural religions that were brought. The
Natural wonders.
basic, sorry,
Mm.
the Christians and the Muslims, right?
Mm.
But you see, even within the Christians and the Muslims, they are also divided into other parts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sure.
yeah, yeah.
So you find people confused.
Even the Muslims are confused.
Yeah,
Balina
they
batengulike.
Simanya Kabalaza. They
Naye
say,
abakatuuzi balina bakarismatic.
are you seeing that?
Bakarismatic nabo bansukka.
Tulina abalokole, those people are under Catholics. Christians, yeah, it is a wider thing. Christians.
Naye abakatuuzi balina bakarismatic. Ani abamala
So
ani ababona.
yeah, so there is no way people are going to be at the same frequency. People are going to be at the same level of understanding. People are going to be united if at all we are divided at religious basis. Yeah?
Mm.
Yeah, there is no way we're going to be just because of that those fucking religions. Then the tribal thing. There is no way we're going to demand for equal opportunity when we still have the tribal differences that we are experiencing in Africa today. We know of certain countries here in Africa, even Uganda inclusive, it is having over very many tribes, and I know even more are coming. Because of course, recently even the Indians were demanding to become a tribe in Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so that has divided very many people in African communities, in African. So we can't demand for equal opportunity for all when we still have tribes. If we still have tribes in Africa, and uh, that were created, of course, by the
Zayi mukama waffe.
yeah.
Tunawaffe.
So there is no way we are going to demand for that equal unit, or there is no way we are going to demand for equality for
Zayi.
all.
Mm.
Or-
Tujje kuwummula bwe baayogera. Tuwanyula olw'engola.
Is it good? Is it good?
Yeah.
Is it delicious? Whatever you're eating, is it delicious?
I'm eating nuts.
All right.
I'm eating. They are called nuts. They are ground nuts.
Okay, you make it like it tastes so good.
Yeah, it is.
How you guys doing today? You guys the 70 didn't turn the lights back on finally.
Mhm.
The 70's like Jesus to Seth's mother. He probably said, "Let there be light." 70 said, "I'm doing it. I'm Jesus, niggas. There's light now." Oh yeah, my fault. I gotta stop saying that. I gotta stop using that word. But now, I'm Jesus. I'm Jesus, cat. I told Joby stop. I got to stop using that word. Uh, uh, um. So what are you guys talking about?
We are we are talking about challenges in Africa. But the
Oh,
topic
okay.
was challenges that are in Africa are not are foreign challenges. These are things that have been structured to, of course, affect Africa's social system, socio-economic and political system.
Yeah. Well, it's completely set up by the Europeans to benefit them, not to benefit the Africans. That's why. That's
Mm-hmm.
why it exists. It was never designed. That's why you. That's why all African systems are European. Parliamentary system, but they're not. They're not. But they don't work in the benefit of African people because they they'll put their puppets in and the puppets do their bidding.
Mm-hmm.
So the Africans become less docile and know have enough knowledge to know what's going on. They're always going to get what they've always got. Sadly enough, the world doesn't care about the African. Doesn't care about us. Doesn't care about Africa. No matter where you find the African at, the world doesn't give a shit about us. You got you got you got children in the Congo doing hand mining for these fake ass electric cars that don't even work, which is bad technology. Has the world come and said, "Hey, stop this"? No. Has any of these despots stopped it? No, no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are children. These are children. Their life. No one gives a shit. Yeah. They're children. Like, so what? These are children. So what? Fuck them. I want the world sees. Fuck them. Oh, what about Palestine? Hey, moron. You know the children died in the Congo? What about Palestine? Hey, moron. Do you know the children died in the Congo? What about Palestine?
It is true. I find that we are seeing Africans. We are together with Palestine on our bullshit. You have never been together with Congo.
They are not aware. They are not aware.
Atabalaga pictures. He's my home. Palestine
Listen,
children are left orphan stuff. How
listen.
about the
They
Congolese?
are not aware of what is happening within Africa. The media is like they're streaming things that are going on in like in Israel, in Ukraine, but they are not giving chance for Africans to they're not giving Africans a chance to learn about what is happening in Africa right about now.
That's true.
They are not broad streaming. They are not broadcasting share.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
African
Whatever
lives,
is.
African
Hmm?
lives don't, African lives don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Each time we see videos of Congolese dying, shootings, bombing
Mm,
for almost a decade.
mm.
But it no longer makes news, I guess, that people don't concentrate on it. And of course, we know they are the reason why there is that insecurity, so they cannot be broadcasting about it.
Mm.
What if their cameras catch them?
You know why it don't make news? Because the Europeans are the ones stealing out of it. But the
Mm-hmm.
puppets, especially Kagame, no good ass.
Mm-hmm.
They,
Sorry.
they spend so they spend so much time and money trying to make him a fake African folk hero. Look at Kagame. Stand up to the Europeans. If you don't get out of here with that bullshit, you whole European puppet. Look at Kagame. Be all on YouTube with the fake propaganda videos. These moronic ass Africans. What do you think about Kagame standing up to the West? Hey, moron! You ain't standing up to the West, you idiot. It's called propaganda, you moron. He's nothing but a Western puppet. You know how many people he's murdered in the Congo for to steal the resource out of there to get the Europeans. You talk about look at some interview Kagame told a European. How dare you, white man? You don't know that's, you, you don't know that's propaganda. How dare you, white man? Then you got 5,000 men. Look at Kagame telling off the white man that he's not going to stand for it. He's not going to stand for the white man's injustice to him. Hey, are you a whole moron or what? But you're too stupid to be a half a moron. You got to be a whole moron. You're too stupid to be a half a moron. You got to be a whole moron. You know, the constant theft, the stealing, the raping, the killing of African people, no one cares. None of these death structures. Nobody's about to invade a war. No one's talking about like ECOWAS. Oh, we got to invade Niger and Mali and Burkina Faso because how dare these niggas talk against their European masters? How dare you niggas do it? How dare you? So you're upset because they got free and they're going to use their resources to benefit their own people? Yes! Niggas are not supposed to do that. They're supposed to stay impoverished and stupid. Well, why? Wouldn't you think it'd be better in your own interest to help Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso become a functioning republic to help and secure a better life and a better future for African people there? No, that's not what the white man wants. I'm a puppet of the white man, so we're going to invade. We're Nigeria and Ghana. We're going to invade these niggas. They're getting free. Well, how about you invade the Congo and help the people getting killed by these African despots like Kagame? How about you do that's a real crisis that you can actually do well in. No, our white masters didn't tell us to do that. We're not doing stuff that benefits us. We're not going to do nothing that benefits African people. Are you crazy? Are you insane? We're not doing that that's going to benefit African people. I know I'm just asking. I thought it'd be good if you decided, you're an African and you want to help African people. You can pretend a little bit, can't you? No, we can't pretend about these worthless niggas. You can pretend a little bit, can't you? No. We've been told to go destabilize Ibrahim Traore because he's out here telling truth about the European. That cannot be allowed. We can't allow this reckless young nigga to be out here telling the truth about the European. We're not gonna stand for that. But don't you think you should? Don't you think you should? He's the youth, and the youth are telling the truth. Don't you think you, as an African elder, you old nigga puppet, that you would want to help? You want to help Ibrahim be successful, so this mindset would sweep across the African continent? Wouldn't you want that? No. Now he's gone against my European masters who give me my money. And we're gonna take his ass out the best way we can. We're gonna stage all kind of coups. We're gonna put terrorism up in there again. But we're gonna get that young nigga. We're gonna get his ass. And things will be back the way they're supposed to be. But us niggas, us black people following orders from our white man. That's the way things are supposed to work. We're supposed to be impoverished, Then we'll have the Arab and the Chinese come in and steal the rest of Africa. That's what we do. Now, if you go against that, we're gonna have to put a bullet in your head, nigga. Here come a bullet. So don't understand. This the problem with Africa. I heard Central talking about the crops that they were growing in this village, So you got something called the World Trade Organization that benefits Europeans again. You're not allowed to grow certain crops in Africa that don't benefit Europeans. They tell you what crops to grow. So it might not be good for you because it causes what? Food insecurity. They don't give a fuck about you starving, having food insecurity. We told you to grow this. Grow this with your black ass. You don't grow that. Well, I need to grow that because that benefits my people and it feeds them. Do we give a shit about you feeding your people? No. We told your ass to grow this. We don't give a shit about you. If you want to be concerned about that, you go pray to Jesus. Pray to Jesus, but you make sure you grow this. You go pray to Jesus about what you're not growing. But we told you to grow this, goddammit. That's what you're gonna grow. Oh, we're gonna do what? We're gonna sanction your black ass. So if Africans don't grow the crops that Europeans want, they get sanctioned. They don't get to grow the crops that feed African people because, like I said, you have 64% of the arable land on the planet. That means 64% of the best growing land is in Africa. So you can't even justify people starving in Africa. 64% of the arable land. That means the majority of best farmland is in Africa. You got people starving in Africa. Make that make sense. 64% of the world, this whole world, 64% of the best land is in Africa for farming.
Sure.
It's another fact. Even Google ain't hiding that. That's a fact. So how do you got starvation and food insecurity in a place where the best land for growing food is at? You got backward, ignorant Africans, and you got puppets that control these backward, ignorant Africans. And the Europeans not gonna ever let them go until the African stands up and fights. That's why you got food insecurity. Yeah, you got food insecurity in the place that's got the best land. How you poor? You got the world's best. You got all the world's resources. You got the diamonds. You got the gold. You got the cobalt. You got the coltan. You got the lithium. You got the uranium. You got the. How can you be poor in a place that's got all the wealth? Make that make sense. Somebody help me out. So don't make no sense. And so Africa has been exploited really for 500 years. Really, Africa has been exploited the last 500 years since they found Africa. A European came in and said, God damn, this place is rich. I'm going to steal all this shit from these dumb ass niggas. I'm going to steal all of it. All of it. I'm going to steal all of it. Every bit. So, first I'm going to slave their ass. That's going to make the continent weak. Then I come back and wipe the rest of these niggas out. I'll take the young and the strong out of here. Then I'll come back and I'll wipe all the rest of them out. I'm lucky Africans really strong. They didn't get wiped out. Because everywhere they gone, they wiped everybody out. Ask the African who was called Tasmanian. Those are African people who left Africa thousands of years ago. The Australian African, Tasmanian African. You might find a few Australian Africans, but most of them wiped out. But Tasmanian Africans, they wiped them all out. And they wiped and killed all of them out. Wiped the whole people out. Tasmanian said, okay, just don't kill us. We'll accept your fake Jesus. We'll worship the shit. I said, okay, we need you niggas to worship this Jesus. They said, okay, just stop killing us. I said, okay, just stop killing us. They said, okay, just stop killing us. Like, Like African people, I don't care if you're on the continent off it, they believe them, and the European wiped their ass out. Wiped them out. You can't find a Tasmanian who came from Africa thousands of years ago. You can't find a Tasmanian on the planet. They don't exist. They're like an animal. When he said somebody was in extinct, they went extinct. The Tasmanian went extinct because the European wiped their ass out. Wiped them out. Murdered every damn person on that island. And they said, hey, you niggas, you niggas, if you change your belief system, worship our white Jesus, we might let some of you live. They said, okay. Tasmanians said, okay, we'll worship your Jesus. Just stop killing us. As soon as they converted to that fake religion, they killed all of them out, wiped them out. This is how viciously they did it. This is how the Africans got to stop being a child. Understand, you're dealing with a psychopath. The last Tasmanian, do this for me, Seto, since you bought a computer. Pull up this for me, Seto. Say images, I-M-A-G-E-S, images, I-M-A-G-E-S, images of Tasmanians. Let me, how you spell Tasmanian? Give me a second. Let me see how to spell that shit. How you spell Tasmanian? Give me a second.
Images of what?
Let me see how to spell it. How you spell Tasmania? Okay, there you go. You go, okay, images of, you're going to say Tasmanian. It's going to be Tasmanian, Tasmanian.
Yes.
Tasmanian, yeah, Tasmanians.
Yes.
Now hit the images. You're going to see black people that they murdered. Now, these people don't exist no more. They wiped them out. They figured they left Africa about 20,000 years ago. They came from East Africa. They got on boats and ended up in Tasmania. They got wiped out. These people don't exist no more. Nowhere on the planet. They got the European completely wiped, killed every last one of them. And the last one they killed, Seto, they chopped his head. They mutilated his body, right? They chopped his head off, his arms. And so what they did, they put his head on the stick. And so what they did, they put his body parts on all four regions of that island. They put his head on one part, on a stick on one part, his body on another part, and his arms on another part of that island. Said now they had murdered all these niggas. We can now control the islands. They wiped them out. A peaceful people. Peaceful, loving, kind people. Peaceful. They wiped them out. These niggas gotta go. So they stole their land. Now all you see is white people there. It looks rough. If you want to see what Tasmania looks like today, go to YouTube and go ahead.
But this thing is showing me a small animal.
No, you talk about the Tasmanian devil, not the Tasmanian images of the original Tasmanian. That's a Tasmanian devil. That's an animal. That's a cartoon. I say images of the original Tasmanian. The images of the original Tasmanian.
Yeah, I've seen.
You see him now?
Now I'm seeing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See they black people that they murdered them off? They don't exist no more. They killed all of them, Seto. They murdered every last one of them.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
They came from East Africa thousands of years ago.
People.
murdered them all. They killed every last one of them. Now, if you're interested in looking at what Tasmania looks like today, they say images of Tasmania today. It's a modern country that they stole from black people. So to understand what they did in Tasmania, they said they wanted to do in all of Africa. Well, you go to YouTube, put a video up, walking around Tasmania. It's a modern country where there ain't no black people there, that they killed them all off, stole their shit. They're not mad about that. They're with psychopaths. This is what they intend to do all of Africa. That's what they do. They wipe you out. They, very modern. You don't hear them crying about wiping those niggas out. You know, Europeans say, oh, we wiped out all these niggas in Tasmania. They don't give a shit about that. Fuck them. All right, we killed them. And they killed them brutally. Brutally. They hunted them people down. They would in thousands cut off their heads and arms. As African people, you know what? You're peaceful and loving. So they were peaceful, loving people. And they were brutally massacred. Brutally. Bet you won't see no movie about that. Bet you won't see no movie about that. But they'll show you a movie about this fake Holocaust shit. Most African people don't even know about the Tasmanian Africans. Like you, this is probably the first time you ever heard about it. I ain't gonna teach you that in your school book. That they murdered off a whole group of African people. And they know they know those people came from East Africa. That's a fact. Tasmanians and Australian Africans came from East Africa. That's a biological fact. And they proceeded to murder their ass off. And these are the people that your mama worships. That's indoctrination. These are the people that your mama worship. These are the people that your mama worship. That's how bad the indoctrination is. These are the people that your mama and a lot of Africans worship. The people that committed straight genocide against African people. Crazy. Yeah. What you guys looking at? What is that? Somebody holler. What is that? What you guys looking at? What is that? Somebody's getting choked or something.
What are you eating?
I'm eating popcorn.
Uh-huh.
I am for real. I don't know. I've been addicted to popcorn here lately. I don't get it.
Let me see.
I stopped drinking sodas and started drinking nothing but water now the last 2 months. But since I started just doing the water, I started being addicted to popcorn. I've been eating a lot of popcorn. It's crazy.
Don't be addicted.
Huh?
Don't be addicted.
I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I never used to eat popcorn. I've been addicted to popcorn lately. What's that? Nuts?
They're nuts. They're called ground nuts.
Okay. Nuts are good for you. As long as you're not eating no damn crickets and shit.
So when I remove the coil and it looks like this. and then I eat it.
That's a nut. Hey, don't eat no cricket, y'all. That's a bottom feeder.
Jaga me what did you do?
But your pig,
Oh,
Spiritually, as African people, we're not we're not supposed to eat bugs, y'all. Bobby popcorn.
Hmm?
As
Huh?
African people, as African people, we're not supposed to eat bugs. You're not supposed to eat. You're not supposed to eat crickets. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
it's a bottom feeder because everything is light. You know, African science, African spirituality, who you are, what you are.
Mm.
When you eat things, it's supposed to be a transfer of energy. So
Mm.
eating things give you what? Minerals and vitamins, energy. So the
Mm.
direct way of energy is supposed to be the sun. If you sun gaze, like you take your shoes off, get in the grass, and stare in the sun, that energy goes directly in you. But if you're just eating food, you're supposed to eat food with the highest form of energy. So that would be fruits and vegetables. And then a lower form of energy would then be what animal products, maybe. Which I don't eat no pig. I don't eat no filthy pig, but a cow, chicken, and then you go even further. You guys get even lower on the light scale is insects, which we're not supposed to eat. That's a low form of light. See if you guys understand why you got to go back to African science and know you're not supposed to be eating bugs. You're not supposed to be eating crickets and shit. You're not supposed to be eating certain things in the damn
How
ocean.
about these ones I'm eating?
Yeah, nuts. Yeah, nuts are healthy. Depending on us, because we're out. Look, as African people, so you guys even learn your diet number because we. That's why African people are getting so sick now. Us in the West, you guys even in the East now. The European diet is acidic. African people are supposed to be alkaline.
Which one is strong?
Put this up. Put this up for me, Zeto. This is African diet. Let's put this up. Say, let me see if you get the word. Say, is an alkaline diet the best? How you spell alkaline? I want you.
Alkaline.
So.
ALKM.
Yep. ALKALINE.
INE.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it right. That's it. ALKALINE. Say, is an alkaline diet best for African people? See, this used to be your ancient diet. The Africans knew this. But now you have an acidic diet. That's why these Africans are dying off at 50, 55. They got all these white people diseases because you're now alkaline. You run around eating mosquitoes,
Your
which you're not
best.
supposed to eat.
Your best to cook.
African people, we're supposed to, our bodies are alkaline. See, there's a science to what you eat. Our bodies are alkaline. We have to have European bodies are acidic. They can eat acidic food, but unfortunately, we've been eating acidic foods like grasshoppers. That shit y'all been eating acidic. As an African person, your body's supposed to be alkaline. You are an herbivore.
Story about to alkaline foods. 15 more items.
Fruits, nuts, like like
Mm.
what like what like what Maria's eating. I think that's alkaline right there. The nuts she's eating. That's an alkaline food. That's okay. That's what we're supposed to be eating.
Onion, just
You're
seeds.
not supposed you're not supposed to be eating crickets.
Haha. Rero ntukurishanya kacingira ntabwo rega dore fani wa fruits. Well,
You- That's why the Africans used to live to be 160, 170 years old. That was your average age. 160, 170 years old was your average age. Now, Africans lucky if we make it to 56 because somebody a Baba. I'm a Baba at 56. 56. You're supposed to be a young kid. As an African, I'm an Baba. I'm a Baba. Yes, hello. Is it raining? Is it raining where you're at? Yes, I know. How you know? How you know, Baba? I know because I checked Google. I know because I checked Google, you nutty nigga. That's how I know.
Mbuzi atulina okwogerako ne Baba Jona.
Simuwanga account. I think we are no longer friends. You see now I'm not.
Have you seen Jonathan in the last couple of months, Maria? Have you ran across
Sorry?
Jonathan at all? Have you seen
Sorry?
Jonathan at all? I said, have you seen Jonathan in the last couple of months?
Yeah. I see him almost every day, but nowadays we are not in good terms. He don't greet me anymore.
He doesn't talk to you no more? You ain't did
Yeah.
nothing to him? Why not? You ain't did nothing to him?
Yeah, because I refused to give him my bank account. He wanted people to be sending money on my account.
That's right. You don't get mad because you don't get mad because you're not gonna be a crook.
So he's mad. He's mad at me. Even when I
I
greet
know.
him like Jonah, good morning, he turns his head the other side. He doesn't like
Uh, I be like, good morning, you crooked ass nigga, He wanted to, he wanted to use Maria. He wanted to use Maria for his scam. No, you use your own bank account, you crooked ass nigga. Use your own shit. You don't use mine.
he doesn't want to use his name. He wants to use mine. So that if shit backfires, it backfires on me. Sure. So, okay, yeah.
He probably, he probably said, he probably said, Maria, that new guy in Seto, can I use his bank account? Ask him, can I use his bank account? Because I am the Baba. You guys got your finals coming up soon, don't you?
Sorry?
I said you guys have your finals coming up soon, don't you?
Yeah. When are we going to Mombasa?
I can't. I had to change
Why?
the date. I had to change the dates. They're going next in a couple of weeks. I could. You guys are going to your damn test. That no one could go on the dates that you guys could go back in Christmas time. So they're gonna go on the same dates. I'm gonna have to just you guys going you guys not gonna make this trip this time because you
Okay.
got
So they are
no one can change the dates. Yeah, it's gonna be the same dates. I mean, you guys' rooms are still there, but you guys just won't be there because they can't change the dates. And I couldn't do another date because of Mombasa. That's holiday season. I tried to get another hotel. They're all booked. They're all sold out. They're all sold out. So
okay.
we couldn't change it. I tried. I tried to change it for last. whole week. You know,
Okay.
and even the train is sold out. You guys would have to take a bus to another bus with them. I had to put them on a bus because the train is sold out. Even the train, they must book that shit in advance in Kenya, boy. Everybody goes out there for Christmas. Because even the train from Nairobi to Mombasa is sold out. I had to put them on a damn bus.
Oh,
So I couldn't get no refund back for you guys' rooms. There's gonna be just two empty rooms there. Mm, 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 mm.
because there was a particular yeah, I'm
How, how long you guys supposed to be in journalism school? Forever? How long does journalism school go? Ain't you been in journalism school for goddamn 5 years, Maria? Goddamn, how long you supposed to be in journalism school? Shit.
Oh, but 5 years.
How long is that? Like Maria been in journalism school forever. How long y'all supposed to be in journalism school? Till you're like 50 or something?
We are finished. We are graduating next year in when I was that boy?
Hey,
Hmm?
hey.
In May.
Damn,
Yeah. So we're
about
gonna
time.
graduate. But
They
yeah,
can let,
we will miss that trip though because our exams are starting on the third.
they should let y'all, you mean tell me they couldn't let y'all take the test at a later time, like most colleges do, and that you come back and take the test later? That was a test you guys could took it in the end of December or January.
Ah man. Yeah. We shall go next time. Whatever.
Well, I might be sending you guys to Tanzania in March. You guys got no problem? I might be sending you guys to Tanzania in March. You got no
In
problem
March.
going to Tanzania? That's right, March, Maria, March. March. What kind of fake test you got in March? I'm ready to hear. What kind of test you got to do in March, Maria? Oh, okay, we can't go. We got the end of the year test in March.
March.
What?
No.
Ah. But we were ready to go last time. It's you who changed that timing.
No, no, we didn't. This was the timing. You changed the timing. You guys had a test.
No. Stop, kid.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
start doing that. You
All right,
say,
all right. November. All right. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. For real. I can't take you to my boss without no.
no. Don't
I
start
can't.
telling Luna that we can start. We had issues on Black of Work, so we had to postpone to December. So
All right.
December, we were supposed to do our
All right.
papers exams in
All right.
December. So
You're at
yeah.
home. Yeah. Yeah. Look, Maria, you can't go on
But you
trips.
know,
You can't. You can't go on trips without no money, Maria. If I don't got no money, if I stole my money, I can't send people on trips.
yeah.
You can't.
So don't.
You showed up to a hotel and you ain't got no money. People kind of like say, hey, you can't get a room. You don't got no money.
Okay. I'll reach out to Gandhi.
Date. Again, that's okay.
Maybe when are they going to Mombasa? About 13th, about
And
10th.
they go on the ninth.
No.
They're leaving the 8th. They'll be catching the bus on the 8th. They'll be in my bus on the ninth to the 14th. That's when you guys are doing your test.
Tomorrow,
Around
14th.
15.
Hmm. No, we can't go because our tests are ending on the 15th. So when they
So
are
that's it.
coming back, it's only for us we shall be.
That's
Our
what I,
test will end on the
that's what
15th.
I said. I know. That's what we said because I told you dates. That's how I know you.
You
You want to
don't
tell me about the.
know. You
I
don't know.
know you the one told me about the dates, Maria. That's why I told you. I said, yeah, I see you, the dates. I said you guys can't go because of the
No,
dates. That was,
don't. You want to assume like you know he doesn't believe that we have tested around that time. He doesn't believe it.
don't believe what?
We don't believe
No,
that we have tests.
I know. I do believe you. I believe you. I believe you got
No,
test. But what test you got in March?
no, we got no testing much.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, my mom's got kidney problems, Keith. She been
Ah,
she been eating she
what?
been eating she been eating bad nuts.
No,
She's had
no,
bad nuts,
no,
and
no,
now
no.
we're not gonna be able to make it. We're not gonna be able to make it to Tanzania. Okay, 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 Maria. All right, we're going to Tanzania now. I'm telling you now. Don't say. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. Listen what I'm saying. Tanzania in March.
Mm.
Listen what I'm saying. Tanzania in March.
March, we are not going to
Do
have tests. So, March, you can be 100% assured that we shall be
All
going
right,
to
we'll,
March.
we'll see. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania in March. Dar es Salaam.
So we are going in March, right?
Yeah, we shall go.
Mm-hmm.
Shall go.
He doesn't believe. And we were ready to go. We are ready to go in Mombasa, but yeah, it
Hey, my,
wasn't.
hey, my fault you guys got tests. Shit. Don't tell them you got
We had
family
even
problems.
we had even packed our shit.
Oh, too bad
We
for
started
y'all.
having we started having dreams when we were in Mombasa.
It would be nice. It would be nice to have you guys in Boston.
But
You
it's
guys will have, you
okay.
guys will have a good time. So, there you go. Dar es Salaam has the same kind of beaches as Mombasa. Yeah, beaches, nice weather in March. So you missed one
Mm.
trip. You missed one trip, but that's on a few months later. Dar es Salaam. Have you guys been to Dar es Salaam before? So it'll be a whole new thing. It'll be all new. Get your Swahili
Mm.
practice up on your. You guys both practice. You guys both practice up on your Swahili. Hey, Santa, do you know Swahili? You know Swahili good?
But do you know Swahili?
Yeah, I can ask for. I can say solo formula. Yeah. I know some Swahili that can make me survive.
Okay. Just Dar es Salaam, you're gonna have to know Swahili. Dar es Salaam, you're gonna have to know Swahili, nigga.
I know little I
So,
can make me survive. Like a food where the jobs are
My joint.
joints.
The joint?
They are
What's that?
washrooms.
You and your joints.
Maria knows Swahili. Maria knows Swahili. She'll help you while you're there. She won't let nobody rob you, said though. Oh, they gonna
Nobody
rob
can
you.
go straight to when I'm here.
Yeah, Maria help you when they try to run scams on you. Say, oh, you don't speak Swahili? Say, we got a special deal for you. We got a special deal. Should be over. Should be overpriced. We got a special deal. So I think I'm gonna take out because I got them going to the restaurant being open in March and looking at the new land, the land that I bought 2 years ago in Dar es Salaam. So I'm probably gonna have you guys also go over to Zanzibar since you're gonna be there. Spend a couple of
Mhm.
days over in Zanzibar. You might you might run into the godson there, Mr. Lava Lava.
Let's change it and go. Lele
Mr.
so.
It's no longer Mr. Love Love.
You might be walking around there. She'll just say, "Hey man, put your damn shirt on. What's wrong with you?"
Kaliwo akakazi akaamugwa mu kifuba kampi kamutuuka mu
Mr. Lava Lava.
kahajati akambadde shariya nze nawulira ensonyi kamuna kalinga kammonde.
Mr. Lava Lava. Mm. Call me Mr. Boombastic.
They're fantastic. But no such a move.
Mr. Lava Lava.
So 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 keep your clothes packed. It's the same temperature in Mombasa that it is in Dar es Salaam. Maybe a little hotter down there. It'll be hot down that bitch. Oh, so keep your bags packed. It's number 3 months from December, number 3 months. So don't come back and tell me about no secret test. We gotta do a secret test that teachers didn't tell us about. Well, you don't get out of here talking that crazy shit. So
Okay, let's wait. When we reach there, we shall cross the bridge.
nah, I'm setting up the rooms now. Hell no, I gotta set that shit up early so it won't be. I'm setting up that shit now. I always got shit up early. You crazy? When you book things early, you ain't got to pay no. The fees are cheaper. I pay for the hotel rooms early. It's cheaper. Remember, I don't got the house no more out there. I wouldn't have to set up the. If I still had the house, that mansion, we could go anytime. But I gave that mansion up in August. I couldn't afford that shit no more. That shit was killing me. So,
Hey.
so if I still had that house, yeah, then you could go anytime. It wouldn't make no difference because all the rooms would be open. It wouldn't. But I don't got that house no more, so I have to set up. I have to set up you guys travel earlier because it's cheap. It's cheaper when you set the travel up early. That's why we were scrambling because everything was so late going to Mombasa. There was no more rooms, and so Mombasa is like is a holiday destination for people. I didn't know it was such a big holiday destination for Kenya. Shit, that's where they go for Christmas. Got no rooms. You got nothing. Shit, like goddamn. Fuck. So half those guys wasn't gonna go. Where we celebrate? Where we going? They wanna. Oh shit.
Sorry,
Sleepy.
abantu ne bagwanirayo.
Let me get paperwork.
Kandi yali ayagala ate.
You guys go ahead. Hold on. Guys, give me a second.
They'll find us in TZ.
Bebama babajja bange bajjamu
Africa. Mugamba.
ayinza okuba alimba kati lwaki teyangamba nti bagenda oteredde byonna byonna byogedde kati kali akakazi kaagaana agende
Kagana.
ayaba kamugamba nze tugenda kyusa oba tebagenda babireke
Tekamala nkajja kenyamba.
nze kyemmanyi mbu ffe tuli redde abo balabika tebaagala kujja bankeyo tutwali tetugenda nafuna alawansi yonna tumisinga epepa tulina ogisasula tatuwaddeko alawansi kibula
So we said a lot about the challenges in Africa. We said a lot about challenges in Africa. There is like a moment where kids say that we reach even an extent of not looking what is really happening in Africa. We focus on Israel. You saw those guys in town were together. I think were captured a video of those guys trying to pray, kneeling down, trying to pray for Israel. We are seeing the stream media trying to show up with those Western wars, the Ukraine Russia war, the Russia Ukraine war. We see full segments on TVs and go under discussions that take long hours in the programming of very many radio stations in Africa. They're putting this at the forefront. But they're not talking about the wars that are going in within Africa. For the case of Congo, people know they don't know much about this. They don't know much about these countries that are experiencing wars in Africa. Either you'll ask someone, stop, say stop. They will not know about these countries that are experiencing wars in Africa, rather focusing on things that are outside Africa. Hmm? So this puts Africa at a higher risk of ignorance about of or ignorant about what did you get or call? Eh? Eh? So mbadde njogera kati mbeera linnya. Mbeera tennawuyo twali. So it is the same thing that is happening in very many things that are going on in Africa. You will see anyway, it's the same thing like I've been talking about. Like very many African countries, they're focusing, like Keith said, that Africa is rich in minerals, gold, diamond, cobalt, what and what and what. But why is it that we are still poor? Like these people have made Africans to of course, focus on things that are not important. Focus on the things that are not things that are not earnable, things that are not business. Kiraba, so we are focusing, we always say this, on religion, tribal differences. Africa being agriculture being the backbone of Africa. So bagamba. that's how they say culture is the backbone of Africa. They know Africans, they're not going to like to put all their eyes on other things rather than agriculture. That's why they bring a lot of agricultural developments, the NGO things, but you will not see any like resource, any mining resource development. What are you really there?
Mm.
Eh?
Mm.
Do you know that still, even up to now, people use hoes to dig out gold in very many mining areas? Apart from sand, I'm seeing nowadays they are using trucks, they're using tractors to dig out sand.
Mm.
But very many African mines, they're using hoes, they're using hand axes. Reason being, they know Africans focus on agriculture, but even the agriculture Africans are focusing on, they have made a lot of confusion in African agriculture for Africans to grow what benefits them.
Mm.
Egera naawe. Egera tumaliriza oba nga tugiggala. Okay, we're out.
So, 10, 3, 20, 20, me, I would, you know, for a very long time, it is not only that they are focusing on that agriculture, which of course I do with the youth, right? Um, if you want to attack a country's economy, then you attack the um, the goods and services, attack production, and Africa's production has basically been on agricultural things. Like you said, agriculture is a backbone. Every average African has ever seen at least a farm or has ever been to a farm. So there's nobody who can tell stories like I've never seen a farm before, I've never been to a farm. The average, and the biggest population of Africans have at least have ever experienced that touch of that. So which makes this a day-to-day thing. And feeding is one of the basics. Now, most people always focus on health, medicine, and stuff, but feeding is very essential. Feeding is essential that it has a lot to do with people's health. You eat bad, you grow sick. You eat bad, your genes are changed. You tamper with what you're taking in, it shortens your lifespan shortens. It also affects you mentally. Apparently, because food is like fuel to machines. It both gives the services. If I told someone is to be, you know, if I told someone is to be compared to a machine, I'm sorry, I wouldn't wish to compare a human to that, but we are trying to explain this. So a machine needs service, they need, if it's a computer, it needs electricity, stuff like that. So a human being needs food because food fuels the entire function of a human. So why is it that it's important these people attack the food system, the feeding of Africans? We have even resulted from our traditional means of feeding. Like you said, Africans love food. Africans love food a lot. That nowadays we have changed our entire system. When somebody says, I'm gonna have something for breakfast, I'm gonna have a couple of coffee. It is not an African thing to have a couple of coffee and whatever it is that people do consume. First of all, most of the things that we have turned to are toxic. Just like Keith was trying to show us the food, the alkaline, the foods that we're supposed to eat, the foods that Africans used to consume. We have turned away from all these things. And this whole thing is driving us back to the genesis. What kind of food are we growing? Are we growing that? We may look at this as an economical attack, but again, it is also a health attack. It is a war that has been waged on our Black people's health, Black people's, entire life system. So if you consume bad things, that means your lifespan is going to reduce whether you like it or not. If you do not take the right food, they don't need to give you family planning. You may not even be able to father or mother a child because of what you're consuming in. So that means they will not even need to take you for family planning things. The food you're consuming is enough to make this happen. The food you are taking in, we've got genetically modified things. What is the future for Africans with the GMOs? What do you think we're going to experience in the future if we keep on consuming this? I think we have neglected. There is more to there is more attack on the African's lifespan compared to the economical war that most of the Africans are focusing on, because at the end of the day, what you consume is a choice. Okay, if you say I'm gonna consume like see maybe like groundnuts, or say I'm gonna eat like spinach, or I'm gonna have a fruit or stuff, it is a choice that you're making at the end of the day. But what are you consuming really? Because we have got two types of whatever we are consuming. We have got the genetically modified ones and the organic ones. So whatever you choose is that decision. They leave that decision for you. Now, me, I feel this is more than nowadays. People don't even live longer. Do you know those days? Mom says that when they were growing up, for you to hear that a young person has died,
It was
it was
shocking.
so shocking that people would even go without food. Everyone would be like, how? Because everyone was supposed to grow old. And at that time, we didn't have things like vaccination. They're vaccinating you from polio, vaccinating you from what, vaccinating you from shit. We do not have that. Because mom said the vaccination, I think, began with them. Check it out. But their mothers don't have vaccination.
Even my mom wasn't vaccinated.
But my mom was. And she did vaccination. She says vaccination began with them because she was vaccinated. She has that scar here on her arm. Yeah, she has it. She said they are the one, they started vaccination with them at that time. And mom says death was irregular. It was very hard, and whenever grown-ups would die, they would die a death of a prepared death. Like everyone goes, they die when everyone knows. They live in that age when they know they're gonna die.
You've made me remember, like in 2020, I lost my granny. She was 104 years. But the sons and their daughters were like, I was like, I met like this one of my uncles that was like, oh, and I mean uncle, it's a pity, sorry for whatever. It was like, it's okay, he has lived. He's like, the thing was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah, he said it's okay.
That's why in African
He has
tradition,
lived.
death was celebrated.
Mm.
People never mourn.
That's why Nigerians just celebrate.
Yeah, because death was celebrated. For someone to die, it was a celebration. That's why also death was expensive. In Africa, they celebrated birth. When your son gave birth, when your son reproduced a child, the entire family would celebrate, because now you are adding, and you are adding on, the lineage is going to live on. That was a guarantee. And marriage, when your son was marrying, it was to celebrate, because that would be a sign that they are going to produce. We're going to have a recreation.
Mm.
The third thing was death. Whenever someone died, people would celebrate.
Mm.
They celebrate the years this person has
Has
lived.
lived. Yeah.
They will bring the grandchildren, they will bring their wives, they will bring their children, they will, they would celebrate because this person had left a legacy. It is like retirement. Like when someone is going to retire, people celebrate to say bye bye. You're like, no, but that's it. So you're going to rest the other side. But yeah. And it is. So people used to celebrate those things, but now my mom said someone dying young would shock the entire village. Everybody, people would move from far and near to come and see how come this young person has died. How come this youth has died? How come someone in their 30s, someone in their 20s,
It was a threat to the
someone
old
in their
ones.
teenage? Yeah. Now people were like, how come these young people are dying? It doesn't make sense. People would move from far distance to come and witness because it was not something that was usual. And yet we did not have all the things that we have today. We do not have all the things they claim that are giving us, That's why I always say Africans should be very conscious to all the things that they are introducing. It's a matter of bweshakala omufumbo bamufumutako kalinga akazaalibwa akempaka ako ke babafumita naye okuva olwo omwana takyawaka. You do that thing on your own risk. And people are actually doing this shit because at the end of the day ng'omwana agenda ku ssomero basaba kaadi ezo. Osobole togenda kugenza olina ogula kaadi nga wayo kyetaano kaadi olonebekwa. Ate abasomesa mu ddwaliro mu ssomero tebabimanyi ng'ebibeerako.
They don't know. It is a matter of having that chip and but they don't know what's what. There is something I've realized over time. Like people can put up something like we want these kind of documents in schools. But now
They will not even open
they don't, as long as you present.
There is someone I know at school, they presented their documents, they balanced their GDP, their GP scores and stuff. But when we wish to do the finals, it became rejected that one cannot qualify. The scores she got could not allow her to qualify for journalism. And she was studying. Didn't these people see that she failed? She had to leave school.
I knew of a certain Tanzanian guy. I used to study with him when I was still in high school. That guy, like we studied for the entire 2 years. At the end, when he was about to do the final exams, they were like, the results are fake. Things. The guy had paid for 2 years, and you know those Tanzanians, how they pay in a foreign company,
And because
in a
you
foreign
have
country.
to sanction your documents. Usually people don't do. It's like when you're going to join politics, you still have to go and sanction your documents. Me, like I told you why last time I had issues with my political career. I had to the years on my national ID are more. They don't tarry. But I did it because the job I wanted needed someone older than my age. So I had to add those 4 years there don't tarry with my documents in school. Now my documents in school, we use the birth certificate. So at times I feel like you represent my national ID says like I'm 4 years older than my birth certificate. And I at that time, you see that faults at times it's not good to do such kind of things. So I got that job, which the job I'm even not working. I'm not in that job now. But I need to use shit. I cannot use shit because there's no tally. But I was told that I can still take my junior results because they come with the age. They were like, that is a proof because I was younger. So I can take that and they will recorrect. But again, my passport still tallies with my national ID. But the passport is about to expire. So when my passport expires, I guess I have whatever. But I think I have to go to court and bring my birth certificate, and then I'll say maybe they're the ones who did faults on it. Yeah, begwasa. Because I'll tell them can't use him birth certificate.
They have no look into the other person that.
I'll tell them Jabegwasa Bagambe, it is you who did this fault, but you have a man.
But let me tell you this, if at all you have any faults on a national ID, just like but my case is some a bit tight more. But if you have for your case, if you want to change all those things, you have to, first of all, you have to go to court. Secondly, they may even actually cancel your education, your education things stuff. But will be cancelled. They have to
like they can only cancel when my name's any
institution national anything that doesn't tally anything on the national
education literally.
It is only the national
the name that age.
The age.
Because like
does the age tally from the grassroots?
Until when we start until now. Is it now that we started using those IDs? From before my age was telling throughout until now. So we're cancelling again. But this has no problem. What has it got to do with that? They can only tell, they can only cancel.
Get good money.
They can only cancel when my names are different from the documents. But my name are the same. Naye naki yeeyongerako erinnya Smile Princess ne bamumma passport kola bwakadda yayita Nakimbugwe we bwe yatuuka neyeteekako erya Princess national ID nga school ziraga Nakimbugwe we wano lyerya Princess biki
Princess so besides all that, just like it doesn't make any sense to say Africa is rich, Africans are poor. It doesn't make sense to me. Still, it's not going to make sense. You're going to hear Africans are dying of famine. Bakitegeera, yet we are the sources of food. Bakitegeera, kati munaaye tugigala tufa gira nno galawo.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Let's end the show right here. Thank you so much for riding with us for 3 hours and 45 minutes here on Black Wi-Fi Network with me, African Maria, with my colleague INNOSSETU from Kampala, Uganda. Thank you so much for being here with us, guys. See you tomorrow, same time. We love you so much, and ciao, ciao.